How do you do with creepy crawlies with buggies?
I'm pretty good these days, but growing up, I was absolutely terrified of spiders.
Me too.
And in the UK, you didn't see too many spiders. They'd be in the
Hmm.
bathtub. The worst ones would be the garden spiders, and they would put
Oh,
up.
why are they in the bathtub, man?
Oh, yeah. They
How'd
just,
they get in there?
yeah, that's the question, right? But the garden spiders would be, they're the ones with the huge bulbous bodies, but the long, spindly legs. And they
Yeah.
would put their webs across, the hanging line and your goalposts. And sometimes you would forget they're there and you would just accidentally run through this massive spider web, have it smack you in the face, and there's one of those huge bulbous bastards somewhere on your
Oh.
body, and I'd just be running into the house screaming my head off. Yeah, I've learned to kind of just like respect them from a distance these days.
Sure.
Like
As
bygones
someone
be
with the
bygones.
family name Webb, are
Yeah,
you like, did you at any point say I'm
I never.
king of the arachnids? No.
No, I was lucky. I managed to watch the movie Arachnophobia when I was pretty young, so that was
Hmm.
lovely. No, the word
No, I
really,
still yet to see it.
it's pretty decent. No, I'd get called Spider Man at school when I was a kid, and I was like, that's a pretty cool.
That's a dope nickname.
Yeah, they were definitely
Not much
trying
to
to
worry
like
about
make
there.
fun of me, but I was like, that's fine.
Do you have a most favorite insect or creepy crawly?
Do you know what? I've always kind of been enamored by fireflies. We don't
Oh, sure.
we don't have them in the UK, but you would see them on like American movies, and they just seemed like this magical creature that doesn't exist. I saw them for the first time in Thailand when I was in Chiang Mai, and they just caught me off
Mm.
guard. I was walking down some country-ish road back to the hotel, and yeah, I just saw this cloud of lights. And we get them where I live on the east coast of Canada somewhat sparingly, but I love seeing those guys.
Oh, very nice. I want to say it's a praying mantis for me. I
Oh,
think
that's
they're pretty
badass.
cool.
Yeah, well, that's pretty
Yeah,
badass.
I think they're pretty cool. I don't think they can cause much damage, even though they look wild. But yeah.
Yeah,
And as for spiders, I had a similar thing. Like I went out into the garage. I want to say I was 7 or 8, and there was this big bulbous, as you were describing,
yeah, yeah.
like massive spider with little spindly legs, and I think I expressed abject terror at this thing, and my dad was like, "Be a man,
Oh, snip!
just
Respect to everyone in that
just
situation.
kill it." And I was like, "Oh no." And so I stepped on it. And now we're
Yeah, yeah.
talking animal cruelty on the pod. So,
Well, that's two.
everyone
That's
bear
two
with
weeks in
us
a
here.
row. That's 2 weeks in a row now because of the
Two
octopus,
weeks
right?
in a row. I know. I don't like what this is becoming. And I stepped on it, and I want to say hundreds of babies
Oh, wow.
just go careening off in every direction.
That's
Um,
nightmare
it,
fuel.
it is, and it was. Yeah, I still think I like it's burned into my memory
But of
at
course,
this
you're not the
point.
victim in this story. But you're one of the victims. But I don't know if you're the victim in this
I
story.
don't know. I mean that poor mom is probably the victim
Yeah,
in hindsight, but
yeah.
god dang, why you gotta be so creepy?
That's memory making material. That is.
It sure is. And speaking of memory making material, this week's movie, Hot Diggity Dog.
What a segue.
Thanks. Hello, friends, and welcome to the G Spot. It's a place where we glorify and make a case for B, C, and D movies of yesterday and today that, despite being the monsters they are, deserve your attention, respect, and dare I say it, love. And if you're curious, that G stands for Godzilla. I am one of your two courageous kaiju co hosts. My name is Raymond, and I'm not alone.
And I'm Sam, Raymond's good friend, ignorant in the ways of Godzilla, very much excited to learn, but lover of all schlocky B and C movies.
Our self professed
Well,
uh,
I don't know about that.
connoisseur
Of trash.
of what? Schlock of
Yeah,
crap.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Trash.
Oh,
Yeah, hey Sam.
How we doing?
I'm doing real swell now that I'm talking to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and talking about another great Godzilla movie, or I think it's great. I don't. We'll hear what we both think very soon. But this is our fourth movie of the Shower era, and this is Mothra versus King Kong, a 1964 joint.
What's the name
Oh
of the
my
movie,
God, it's
Raymond?
Mothra versus Godzilla. It's King Kong's out of here. It's been a
Ew.
while since our last recording. We're shaking the
Yes.
rust off. So a few stats here before we even just right out of the jump. It's our fourth movie of the Shower era. It's our third outing with Godzilla sharing the
Mm,
spotlight with another kaiju. It's our, as in mine and your, first introduction to our Queen of the Skies, Mothra, but actually it's her second film,
yes.
and surprisingly, it's our third time strapping in with Ishiro Honda in the director's chair.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we've had King Kong versus
Yeah.
Godzilla, and now we have Mothra versus Godzilla. And it's really easy to kind of see where we are now with these movies
Mm,
and kind of what to expect. Whereas before, when you watch the first one, the second one, so
right.
Godzilla raids again, and then King Kong versus Godzilla. Each one is
Mm.
splendidly different from the last, but now it kind of feels like we've kind of got a pattern
We're
of
we're settling into a bit of a rhythm, and as you were saying, like we're out
yeah,
of the kind of weird growing pain stages of this franchise of like,
yeah,
what is the identity? What are we going to be? Are we going to be this big monster movie, dark sci-fi, like allegory, or are we
yeah.
going to be a manga inspired like wrestling match every, year?
They are still very solemn in this movie. We could talk about that when we get to
Right.
the end and when we go to a special island. But I think they have lost a lot of the sincerity.
I certainly didn't expect Ishiro Honda to still be with us by this point. I guess it's hard to argue with success and
Sure.
what was our last film in the franchise, King Kong vs. Godzilla, but successful. I was also pleasantly surprised to see that this film holds a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's the critic score. It's I'm amazed that the franchise is still like cruising along with this much confidence. This is only out of 13 critics,
Yeah.
because it's an older film, but
Okay.
admittedly that's not many. But for a 70-year-old mid-franchise film about a giant lizard fighting a giant moth, it's still pretty impressive. For comparison's sake, the 1954 film has a 94% and many more reviews, I think.
Yep.
Raids Again has a 64, and Kong vs. Godzilla is sitting at a shocking 54%. I expected more there.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like, maybe it goes against your argument, but if those 13 people think Mothra versus Godzilla is so tremendously better than Raids Again and King Kong versus Godzilla, I'm not
Okay.
sure I'm buying that argument. You know what I mean? Like, they are all great movies, but I wouldn't say Mothra versus Godzilla is
Yeah,
twice as good as, you know, not, I don't necessarily mean
yeah.
twice as good, but so I'm kind of surprised by that.
This is also, there are so many factors there too, as well, like how many critics are being represented from
Sure,
each
for
movie.
each
And
movie,
yeah,
yeah.
but no, I totally get it. I also don't think it is twice the movie that Kong vs. Godzilla is for sure. And, Raids Again has its charms, but also I don't see Raids Again being, I don't know, I kind of put it at a slightly lower tier than the other three.
Of all the four movies, I think we could say that if it wasn't for Kobayashi, I don't know if I can say it's the
Sure.
lowest ranking of all the movies. But the
Sure. And it
difference is
still
not
does
that
some really
dramatic.
important things for the franchise. Okay, but I did
Yeah.
have two critic blurbs from those 13 that made up the 92%. I just wanted to call our attention to them right now. The first one is from Bob Chipman of Escapist Magazine. He emphatically states, "This is probably the best Godzilla movie, period." And Scott Weinberg of eFilm Critic proudly proclaims, "This is one of Godzilla's grooviest adventures."
I'll buy into the grooviness thing, so we can talk about that later. I would love to know what was his name from The Escapist,
Bob Chipman.
how or why they think that. And I'm not saying he's
There
wrong,
are.
but there's a lot of Godzilla movies out there. I'm assuming he's watched the majority of them. He doesn't have to watch all of
No
them.
one has to watch all of them except two idiots like ourselves.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's curious. I mean, clearly
Yeah,
this movie resonated with the pair of them, and they felt compelled to kind of put that out there. And honestly, sometimes I do comment on
mhm,
podcasts I listen to or videos I watch,
right,
and it's because like that is so good it deserves a comment. The only
right.
time you comment is when you think it's so good you
Yeah.
should.
Let's see. I think this is one hell of a busy movie, Sam. Like the plot moves at a million miles an hour for the first 20 minutes. I was struggling to take notes. I had to keep pausing to write stuff down. It's pretty admirable that they, wanted to put this much story in the first place, but like it's probably to the movie's detriment. At the 30-minute mark, Godzilla is not even mentioned yet, and we've only seen Mothra in two brief scenes, and there's so
Huh?
much story going on still.
Yeah. Like I don't know when we get into
Yeah,
the story, but the story is a
yeah,
pretty
yeah, yeah.
hilarious one. Like it's there's a lot going on, but you know
Oh,
you know
for
who the
sure.
good guys and the bad guys are, and you know where it's going. But it's also very quirky, for sure. Yeah,
Quirky,
it's a bit
groovy,
groovy.
one
Yeah,
might
it's
say.
quirky in the same way the previous one was as well. You're just introduced to such novel characters or novel situations that you're like, all right, let's see, let's see where this is going now. And we had that with what's his name, Mr. Taco,
Mr. Taco, for sure.
and then just going to Faroe Islands, like they always throw in a lot of random funny stuff.
I used to think this franchise was all about getting to the monster fights, but like now that's kind of icing on the cake, and then we've got such ridiculous human characters to see. I used to think the human parts were just purely boring, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
gosh,
that's
there's
right.
a lot to enjoy there.
They always kind of ham up certain kind of characters, always have very over the top
Yeah,
presentations,
very
and that's true
cartoonish.
in this movie as well. Yeah, quite cartoonish. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then one last thing before we get into trivia that I wanted to mention was despite all the bright colors and like 60s sci-fi concepts, it's still kind of a pretty dark movie thematically.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
talking about a lot of pollution, nuclear testing, human greed.
Yep. And the pollution thing is the whole like man versus the environment or environment versus man
Yeah.
kind of stuff going on there as well. But yeah, like they are cartoonish in points, especially the greed,
Yeah.
that part of stuff. But yeah, there's some pretty solid themes in this one. Yeah. And I guess I'm gonna guess Honda agreed to do this movie because he got to lambast the greedy
Yeah,
kind of speculators and financiers of this world.
they let him feed his intellectual side a little bit more with this one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Because what was King Kong? King Kong was all about the PR,
true.
or just TV ratings and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah, yeah.
like that. Yeah.
All right, well, should we jump on in, or did you have anything else you wanted to mention up top?
There is one thing I want to say.
Yeah.
So, and this is more a reflection on something I said last week. So last week when we listened to Kong and Godzilla, I got pretty excited about the fact that a couple actors had returned in different roles
Yes.
from the first Godzilla movie. And then, unconnected to what we're doing, I watched another Honda movie, which is King Kong Escapes.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a bit like prior to Mothra versus Godzilla. And I soon realized that Toho and Honda repeatedly reuse actors, so I should stop getting excited about that because when I watched King Kong Escapes, one of the lead actor from Mothra versus Godzilla is a lead in that, as is Mi Hammer, and she was Famiko in Kong versus Godzilla. And she plays such a radical character, like she's like a over the top evil villain.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Ooh, I'd love to see her turn as a villain.
yeah, I can't remember her name. She has a really silly name in it, but the main villain's called Doctor X.
Dr.
So we're kind of in,
X.
yeah,
Beautiful.
we're kind of in that realm. So yeah, just up top, there's probably, well, if there, anyone listening to this movie who knows stuff about Godzilla, and I got excited about the fact that actors came back, I think I need to temper that because it's probably going to happen all
Okay.
the time.
So we have a returning stable of actors. We were getting hints of that thus far.
Yeah,
Well, okay. Maybe Ishiro Honda's the Wes Anderson of his day.
yeah,
uh,
that's right. Yeah, maybe he is.
and monster
That's true.
movies. Let's talk about this movie. So, some stats up top. It is a Japanese language original, and it was originally titled Mothra Tai Gojira. It starred Akira Takarada. We would recognize him as our lead from the 1954 Godzilla.
Hmm.
Yuriko Hoshi, Hiroshi Koizumi, and this is the returning lead from Godzilla Raids Again. So as you were saying, like we have actors from
Yeah.
coming back again and again. Yu Fujiki, Kinji Sahara, Jun Tazaki, Yoshibumi Tajima. Yoshibumi is an amazing
Mm.
name. And sisters Emi and Imi Ito
Right
playing the
on.
Shobijin. And fi
And they are the Peanuts.
yes,
We can
and
talk about them later, right?
yeah, oh yeah, we'll talk about the peanuts. And finally, in the suit, we still have Haruo Nakajima and Katsumi Tezuka, who I've learned was both an Ishiro Honda regular and a former professional baseball player.
Oh,
So
nice.
he played,
That's a hell of a resume.
yeah, he's played Godzilla along with Nakajima multiple times. He played Anguirus in Raids Again, so he's the man who got his knees
Also,
just
yeah,
destroyed.
maybe that's what ended his baseball career.
He,
I assume these are coexisting at the same time.
he was a larva in one of Mothra's
Oh,
solo films. Not this one, but in one of
oh, okay.
Mothra's solo films. Um,
Well, that's amazing because when we talk about those guys, man, they are something else.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And he was many other kaiju and background extras in other Toho films.
I feel like we've sorry, who's the gentleman who plays Godzilla?
That is Haruo Nakajima.
Nakajima. I feel like now I've watched enough Godzilla movies that I'm starting to pick up on Nakajima's style
Mm,
because you see the way Godzilla moves. It's always he has a certain way of moving, and you're like, well, that's Nakajima doing that.
oh yeah, yeah,
I'm sure if you were to change, the person in the suit, it would you'd pick up on the different kind of
for sure.
ways Godzilla moves his body.
It'd be like a different Jason Voorhees actor taking up the hockey
Okay,
mask.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no getting away from the fact that that's a different person, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So this movie was directed by Ishiro Honda from a screenplay by Shinichi Sekizawa, who is back from writing King Kong versus the G-Man. Special effects, of course, were done by our maestro Eiji Tsuburaya. This movie had an initial release date of April 29th, 1964, and a runtime of 1 hour and 28 minutes. So again, we're in that, 90-minute sweet
Yeah,
spot.
that's sweet spot. Heck yeah.
This is a bit of an unreliable figure, as we mentioned in our last episode, but a 1965 issue of Japan's oldest film magazine, Kinema Junpo, reportedly gives this film a box office return of 3.2 billion yen off a 123 million yen budget. That is an incredible return. All right, so some trivia about the movie. This film is a direct result of the popularity and success of both 1962's King Kong vs. Godzilla and 1961's solo creature feature Mothra. It was meant to appeal to children just as much as adults, and there was a real impetus for this movie to compete with TV's growing popularity in Japan, and we saw that, shades of that in the last film too.
That's really cool. That's and it's interesting about getting the children involved, and I can see why Mothra
Mhm.
might be a part of that for sure.
Yeah, Mothra just has this totally different ambiance.
Yeah, it's a different presentation style completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Director Ishiro Honda, who headed both the 1954 original, Kong vs. Godzilla, and 1961's Mothra also. He was apparently very purposeful in portraying Infant Island as a partial wasteland, as a means to
Mm.
visualize the terror and the power of the atomic bomb.
But when we get to that point, there's probably like two solemn moments. That's one of the more solemn ones, I guess.
For sure. We're again returning to that same sort of, aching, haunting theme that
Mhm.
he
Yep.
initially captured so well in the first film. To prepare for his role as douchebag businessman Jiro Torahata, actor Kinji Sahara pretended to be a prospective home buyer, and he would spend time with pushy real estate agents to research his role. I like that method. That's fun.
Yeah, that's he's concocted that from somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, he's one of these kind of cartoon characters, for sure.
Yes. Oh yeah. One of the shadier businessmen I've seen on film. Definitely.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the Peanuts. Twin sisters Emmy and Yumi Ito were a singing duo known as the Peanuts. Their voices were apparently only slightly apart in timbre, which created a unique audio effect in which their singing sounded like a solo artist doing double tracking or reverb. They were cast as Mothra's Shobijin. Basically, these are like miniature priestesses that are always seen alongside Mothra, and they are Mothra's links to humanity. They
They're definitely
are,
supernatural
yeah,
beings.
they're about the size of a fairy, maybe.
Yeah, they're fairy size, but they look like humans, but they're definitely not of us.
No, they were the Shobijin for Mothra's first three film appearances, and they, due to their celebrity, helped drum up publicity for all of those films. So
Did you listen to any of their
bit
music?
of stunt casting there. No, I don't think I did. I maybe I
No.
meant to. Did you?
Yeah. I was. I was curious because I didn't realize until I went on IMDb. So they mostly did like cover songs, but in Japanese,
Okay.
which was incredibly lucrative.
Yeah.
I think they've sold like 10 million records, but it does kind of sound like 1960s. It's hard to explain, but you and I would go to those Norobangs in Korea,
Yeah.
and we would
A,
be
a
singing Western
Noribang is a
songs.
karaoke room.
Yeah, like a karaoke. And you and I would be singing, Jay-Z and Linkin Park, as you do. But Korean, like maybe Korean older people, 50-year-old, can you kind of recall the kind of music they would listen to
Oh, sure.
in Nora?
Yeah, like in
Like it's a very specific sound. If you
yeah,
went to a marketplace, you would hear like it all the time.
lots of
It's
like synthesizers and kind of beats.
Yeah, and then horns.
Hmm.
It's catchy pop music, but
Okay.
it's kind of dated in its own way. But
All right. Nice. Speaking of the Shobijin, furniture 8 times their size was built and used to create the illusion of their diminutive frames.
there you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Some good work there for set makers, prop makers.
absolutely. And I have a model fact, Sam, if you will. Typically, miniatures for these movies were custom built. However, the tanks in this film were purchased from Ihara Models instead. These miniatures were 1/15th scale and constructed from aluminum with antennas for remote control.
They've definitely got some like gasoline in them now. These tanks, because previously the tanks have been very static and linear. These tanks can turn left, right, man. Do you Yui?
Oh yeah, there were so many
So
little
nimble.
moving and whirring parts on the tanks. I loved
Yeah,
watching those
yeah.
tanks. It was very cool. They even melted a couple of them for us. And apparently the scene during which Godzilla's head catches fire, I thought one of the coolest moments in the movie. This is during a firebombing scene. This was a total accident. Even though the fire went out
Oh,
quickly and everyone was fine, Nakajima had no idea it had even happened since the suit's head was so much higher than his own. It also
right.
it looked so cool that Honda kept it in the film. So apparently, critics of the 60s shared their present day contemporaries' high opinion of the film, calling out themes like greed and unity, and once again seeing in Godzilla the specter of nuclear annihilation and cosmic judgment. Film historian David Kalat wrote that this film brings modern civilization's shame into focus through its characters' inaction and lack of effort to return Mothra's egg despite the pains they go to travel to Infant Island and ask Mothra for more. Mothra, Kalat writes, possesses a more developed faculty of forgiveness than her subjects and is morally and spiritually superior to humans.
Yeah, when we get to Mothra, we can dissect her, I suppose, as it were, because she is magnificently different to everything else we've interacted with.
Absolutely. And finally, Japanese film historian Yoshikuni Igarashi highlights the fact that this is the final film in the Showa era depicting Godzilla as a villain due to the regrowth and hope of a post World War II Japan. He wrote, in 1960s Japan, a place overflowing with optimism inspired by economic growth, the darkness that prevailed in the mid 50s vanished from the screen in Japanese society. Godzilla tamed and transformed into the guardian of post-war Japan's prosperity.
Okay, I had no idea that was coming so soon as well. So he's doing his babyface turn, and he's going to be the hero from now on.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's a bit of a spoiler, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, but it's interesting. He's basically the same villain as he was in the last movie.
same brute. Yep.
He just wakes up and he gets to work.
Hmm.
That that's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, man.
Basically, yeah.
I have a few alternate foreign titles for you,
Oh heck
if you'd
yeah,
care to hear them.
please.
All right. So
I think it was West Germany one last time, was it, or Turkey, something
yeah,
like
I
that.
think West Germany won last our last episodes. And we've got some pretty good contenders this time. So Spain called this movie Godzilla Against the Monsters.
Humans are the monsters in that title, I see.
I don't know, but they might be referencing the fact that there are two
Yeah, yeah.
two
There's a follow up. There's a
larvae. Yeah,
second. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um,
Okay, sorry, Spain. No.
yeah, no. Cat, Catalan, Spain, Catalan,
Oh yeah, Catalonia.
Catalonia. So they called it Godzilla and the Mothra Challenge.
Okay, that's way better.
That is,
I
it's
don't like I I don't like the fact that it almost sounds like Godzilla has a problem he needs to get through with
yeah, like a
Mothra.
weight loss program or something that they're going to do
Sure,
together.
yeah, absolutely.
West Germany's back with Godzilla and the prehistoric caterpillars.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, pretty good.
You know
Um,
what you're getting.
Brazil's called it Godzilla Against the Sacred Island.
Eh,
Eh. Greece called it Fujiyama Operation.
solved. Because that gives such little away.
It's a heist
It could
film.
just be watching some fella called Fujiyama being operated on. Who's getting his gallbladder removed today, folks.
Yeah, yeah. Taiwan called it Mothra Fights Dinosaur.
Okay, that I think that's pretty on trend for them.
Uh, I,
I think dinosaur was used by them last time as well for King Kong.
okay, so they're really sticking to, yeah.
Yeah.
Godzilla doesn't deserve that name. Iceland called it
Ooh.
Strong Godzilla. Turkey called it Godzilla Unexpected Beast.
Okay, it's not even verses. It's I mean, is there any punctuation in that at all?
No, no. But
Okay,
Godzilla
I think
could
that's
be
it.
the unexpected beast. This is from Italy. I gotta, I gotta pronounce this word correctly. Watang
Oh, perfect.
in the fabulous empire of monsters.
That's
What
Yeah, that is tantalizing. I don't know what you do with that.
what do we think about Watang? That
Yeah,
has an exclamation point as well.
what I really hope is that let's just say there was like a viewing of this movie where Toho have invited one person from Brazil, one person from Italy, Taiwan, Iceland, West Germany, and they're all just sitting in the front row, and they just asked to say, "Describe that movie now." The Italian guy's like, "What?" Ice is like, "Strong Godzilla." They just write it down quickly. All right, that's what we're gonna call it in your nation. Fujiyama Operation is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
I feel
Greece.
like that's such an open sandbox for what it could be.
It's
And
true.
I think everyone's just going to project their best possible kind of hope for that movie.
Yeah. All right, Greece.
I mean,
Congrats. Oh, that was fun. There was a United States one. America just had to have its own version. So
sure.
we were treated to the edited and retitled Godzilla vs. The Thing in August of 1964. Just 4 months later. The mere months long turnarounds on these American editions, it's
Yeah.
head spinning.
So does that mean to say that America didn't get the original Mothra movie if they're calling Mothra the Thing?
I'm guessing no. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it
thinking they
like
had a pipeline, and they had a pipeline going like that's how these turnarounds happen so quickly.
yeah, it
Uh,
was just Godzilla.
and I'm thinking, yeah, it was totally tied to Godzilla
We know what we're
films.
doing with Godzilla, so we'll just
Yeah.
yeah.
This time rights to the film were bought by American International Pictures, and I believe that's our now fourth separate distributor of these movies, which is
Okay.
even more wild when. So maybe there is no pipe. Maybe Toho had a pipeline for selling these movies quickly. Yeah, so American International Pictures, um, they made an entire marketing campaign centered around keeping Godzilla's opponent a secret. So the posters for the film
Oh.
show a quite scrawny Godzilla tussling with a giant question mark and a tagline that read, "What is it? How much terror can you stand?" in all caps. This American dub
Okay.
was a bit more faithful than most of the others we've talked about previously, and it even included some scenes with miniature U.S. military vehicles shot by Toho specifically for its release.
There you go. That's I kind of love it and slightly disappointed. The whole like who's he fighting question mark thing.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Hmm.
I'd be well keen because it'd be like there wouldn't be spoilers unless you had a hotline to Japan somehow.
Sure.
Um, but then they say how much terror can you withstand? Something to that extent.
How much terror can you stand? Yeah.
Yeah, and this movie has far less terror than all of the other movies.
Way less terror. So that is probably a misstep, but the whole mystery opponent thing, yeah. I mean, you've got this
Yeah.
big egg for most of the film.
Yes, we
What's
do.
coming out? So yeah, man, that's everything I've got trivia wise.
So as I said, I
Oh,
watched
you've
the
got some.
King Kong Escapes
Yes,
movie.
yes. Please tell
Well,
me.
so, I don't want to go too much detail, but it was,
Mhm.
I assume it is, an American adaptation. So this one was made distributed by Universal, and
Oh, was it dubbed?
but it was dubbed. So like I was
Wow.
trying to, I'm sure there were differences that I didn't know about or couldn't pick up on, but having looked at the movie afterwards, there is in this movie a bigger American acting presence, regardless of the fact that this is the American distributed one.
Oh.
So there are Americans in this, and they were meant to be for the Japanese audience as well. But yeah, even the Japanese actors get dubbed as well, and it's weird. It's not bad, but
Right.
it is a bit weird. It is just a bit weird to talk about the movie. It is the closest thing I've seen to we watched El Zento versus Hammer horror creatures or the Universal creatures. It was that kind of level of goofiness at certain points
Oh,
with the
spectacular.
with the characters. Yeah, like the villain's called Doctor X, and I can't remember the lady's in it name, and so it's a bit more kind of out there in the
Right.
kind of nonsense, but fun, still fun.
Yeah, and for anyone who caught that quick name drop there of El Santo, we recorded a practice episode of this podcast. It might be released someday,
Oh
but
yeah,
in which we watched El Santo versus the Monsters. Is
yeah,
that what it was called? This was a 60s Mexican wrestling picture in which
yeah.
a crime fighting wrestling
Mask wearing.
duo, mask wearing wrestling duo fights Universal movie monsters somehow.
In his spare time.
It's pretty
Yeah,
spectacular.
yeah,
Well, so we can get there sometime this decade. Why don't we start talking about our general thoughts on Mothra versus Godzilla? We open on a raging, stormy sea, a typhoon.
yeah. It's very Shakespearean, isn't it?
Yes, right? Yeah.
All right.
A
Like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's foreshadowing here
I
in this
know,
storm?
some tempestuous opening credits. You know, they're pretty powerful and effective. They establish a mood. They also matched my hangover the day I was watching
Terrific.
the day I was watching this film.
It definitely does set a mood. I'm not sure if what follows kind of matches it. It seems to go relatively light-hearted-ish
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. I mean, the sun's shining.
Right. I think there's this weird dissonance or maybe just juxtaposition between the colors and
Yeah, I think that's what
the
it
colors
is.
on screen and some of the themes and the mood that Honda's trying to evoke in certain places.
So it is crashing dark, inky black waves, and then the next scene is
Bright daylight.
eight bright daylight, but very colorful yellow water pumps successfully pumping a lot of water away.
Right.
So yeah, it's very bright. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
this is from a beach called Karada Beach that was hit by this typhoon.
Yeah.
And there are two reporters on the scene. A reporter and his photographer, I suppose.
That's right. Yeah.
The reporter's name is Ichiro. His photographer's name is Junko. They're covering the damage of what they call Typhoon number 8 on the beach. And while they're doing this, they discover an oddly colored, it kind of resembles like an oil slick
Yeah.
color wise. It's like wavy blue, green, black. It's oozy. It's
Yeah.
this blob that's floating in the water. And Junko is a very plucky lady. I quite like
Absolutely,
Junko.
she is.
One of my favorite heroines so far.
Just two things there. With the radioactive material they find, or I shouldn't say it's radioactive. Yeah, they don't know that, but it is this very alien-looking kind of iridescent lump.
Yeah.
It kind of becomes, unconnected to the movie for a good 25 minutes after that. So it's
Yep.
odd how much they introduce that little object. But to go back to, sorry, is it Junko?
Yep.
One of the first characters these two journalists meet is the local politician.
Yep.
And he's like Mr. Taco. Everything is with purpose. He's very optimistic. His ideas are always going to be fruitful and successful. And he's one of these kind of tropey characters that seem to exist in the world of Godzilla for sure.
Absolutely. He is clearly a bad dude, or a slimy dude, I should say.
Yeah, like Mr. Taco.
Like Mr. Taco, and I wrote in my notes here, I miss Mr. Taco. Yeah. But yeah, this guy is one of, sort of three such characters in this movie that sort of represent greed and industry.
That's right. Yeah.
He sort of vows that maybe he's a politician. I sort of thought he might be the head of this factory. That's here because he say he's going to vows to continue running pumps.
Yeah, so he introduces himself as the assemblyman for this prefecture.
There we go.
Yeah, so which is a political kind of designation. Yeah. So he obviously wants to save face, and he obviously everything's always good under him. I think he even says like, "I've always kept my word."
Right.
So he's hammering this home as a crisis that's turned into an opportunity. But it's more just the way he presents himself, the way he acts. He's very cartoonish. But the other thing is, these are basically our main characters, Ichiro and Junko, and they're journalists, and they're the one who are going to be guiding this story, and that follows in with, a PR team in the last movie. So and I guess we just had some pilots for the one prior to that. But yeah, they not necessarily always the heroes you would expect.
No, which is kind of nice. I also like that we're sort of jumping around career-wise. I mean, it's not too far a cry from the PR team, but
it's
still a little different. So yeah, I mean, basic points here. They're reporting on the typhoon. They have found this weird lump in the water, and they've met with a local politician. And again, as I mentioned up top, this movie has pretty fast plot development. We then jump to the newsroom that Ichiro and Junko work for, and I believe he's the editor-in-chief. He is sending reporters out to a different beach. This is Nishi Beach, where a giant white monster egg has been discovered off the coast. So the man who the editor-in-chief is sending is a man who is his one defining character feature in this film is that he is constantly
never seen without it.
Constantly, not successfully, but attempting to eat an egg. He is always about to eat an egg. Yes, that is his entire character.
I'm not sure the egg is as famous as, like, let's say Charlie Chaplin's like Watang.
No.
But it's got to be pretty close.
They were certainly going for something there. Yeah,
I think he's also. I think there's another trope here. I feel like they often hire an actor who has a pretty sad face, or a face of someone who maybe isn't always
like
winning.
The office schmuck, basically.
Yeah, and I think Kobayashi suffered a bit from that, although he is a hero.
They gave him a hero. They did not give Eggman a heroic send off. No.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the ultimate
Yeah.
sacrifice. Yeah.
It's such a weird, fun little character detail. I love it.
Mhm.
So he is getting sent to Nishi Beach to report on this
Yep.
egg, and kind of hold the line until Junko and Ichiro can get there. And on this beach, we have all the local fishers sort of
Mhm.
kind of staring at this egg from the shoreline.
That's right.
They've got gathered a shaman who's doing like protective wards.
That's right.
Um,
Forgot about that. Yeah, and they seem to be pointing towards kind of an elder in
e-
their group deciding what to do.
right.
Right, but
They're all
you have to get across just how large
oh,
this
it's
egg
huge.
is.
It's like
Humongous thing.
6 stories high, this egg, at least. And they're frightened of the egg. They think, something might come out of it. This is a world where Godzilla and at least King Kong and Anguirus exist or existed.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean a giant egg. Uh-oh.
And Mothra,
Oh,
they know about
right,
Mothra at
right,
this
of
point as well,
course.
right?
Mothra is a known quantity as well. And our shaman convinces them to take the egg out of the water, and try to make some financial gain from it. He says, "Have you ever heard of anyone being hurt by an egg?" And that's it's infallible logic.
Well, that's the kind of science that I can't remember his name
Sarazawa
now. Doctor
from our last movie.
Sarazara was giving us. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. If it hasn't happened, it will never happen, and if it happened once, it could always definitely
right.
happen again.
Uh, and this is like a finders keepers um axiom that they're following
Yeah, that's
here.
the vibe.
Yeah, like
Yeah, definitely.
it washed up on your shore, it's yours. So take it.
Yep, that's right. And that's transferable. That's property you
Yeah,
can
man.
transfer.
In this movie, we see some more of those like old school spinning newspaper headline, like
Yeah,
front
that's right.
pages. I love it. They tell us what's going on. Just do some quick exposition. They tell us that the egg has been brought to shore, and that a zoologist named Dr. Muera will soon investigate. He is a zoologist that we always sort of see him working in tandem with Junko and um, Ichiro, and
Yep.
together they sort of make up like our little hero triumvirate.
Yeah, they're the kind of morality of the movie because they're about to come across,
Yeah,
some the nastier sides of humans, and I think also to that extent that I'm pretty sure of the Kong movie, the the focus of the movie is on two men and a woman,
right.
and in Godzilla Raids Again, maybe not so much, but you could definitely argue it's about two men and a woman.
True.
Maybe
Yeah.
to maybe to a slightly less extent than Junko or Fumiko from the previous movies. But it seems like that's also the format they're going with is two
Yes.
fellas and
And
a woman.
I'll say this now. Junko is our first female protagonist that is actually she is given a lot to do. She's given
Yeah,
several very important like speeches, and like she's the driving ethos, probably,
yeah,
amongst our three protagonists.
yeah. Because previously Fumiko was just kind of absolutely cursed, snake bitten.
Damsel in
You know
distress from start
that.
to
Yeah, definitely
finish. Yeah,
exactly right. And then Raids Again, it
she's
was
I
the
can't
emotional
remember
kind of.
that character's name, but she spent most of the film in like, yeah, just being kept in a safe place.
But you're right. Junko like changes the story in positive ways. And as you said, she's feisty. The assembly man, is it the assembly man or one of these very nasty, greedy capitalists we're going to meet?
Several of the quote unquote
Offense.
villains, yeah, talk down to her directly.
Yeah, they talk down to her, and she'll
Yep.
talk up for herself. And in fact, she calls out her partner for not
Yeah.
defending her as well, which is I think
Yeah.
also pretty cool.
Even Ichiro is kind of like chiding and scolding her on the
Yeah,
job. I guess she's new, but still. Yeah, she's a plucky heroine, maybe our best
Yep,
so far. We also there's this great composite shot of the egg on the beach where we see a crowd of amazed and like wonderstruck people at the bottom of the frame, and the egg is behind
that's
them
right.
looking just colossal. I tried to sort of like count like
How
well,
many
not
people?
the
Yeah,
people but like how big the egg was. Like I think it
sure.
roughly looked to me like a 5 or 6 story building. And trying, I'm just like imagining like there's a, I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, there's a big elementary school behind our apartment building, and I feel I'm trying to just replace that elementary school in my head with an egg.
That space, that
Yeah, that's
volume, yeah.
insane.
And it does. I think the size of this egg does kind of fluctuate somewhat when you watch the movie and hear the way they
Nobody's
talk
perfect,
about
Sam.
it,
Come on.
because
It's not. Let's
nobody's
not.
perfect, no. Because I think it is. I think it's supposed to be presented as large as you're describing
Yeah.
it, but they then describe, because we're about to learn exactly how many eggs, chicken eggs, you could fit into this egg, and it's within the number of like 153,000 chicken
Yeah.
eggs. And to me, I feel like that's a pretty small number of eggs for, as you're describing, an elementary sized.
Oh, true.
But maybe I just can't
True.
picture it well.
Yeah, so on the back of what you're saying there, we're
Mm,
introduced to our second kind of
yep.
v- villainous character. He is the CEO of Happy Enterprises.
Yeah, brilliant. It's that is so Dickensian. Well, I don't know. Dickensian would probably call it sad bad industries or something.
So a uniquely Japanese form of Dickensian,
maybe it's more
naming.
Orwellian. It's probably
Okay,
Orwellian.
sure.
I mean. Yeah.
The CEO of Happy Enterprises, his name is Mr. Kumayama. He has already purchased the egg from the fisherman for the very specific sum of 1,224,560 yen. He calls that, quote, a fair price. It is calculated by estimating the size of this egg and multiplying the price of normal chicken eggs to equal,
Yes, 8 yen,
the
I believe.
size of that giant egg.
Yeah. So this gentleman, he doesn't look too dissimilar from the
Yeah.
assemblyman.
I was confused. I thought they were the same character for a little while. Yeah.
Right. He's definitely a bit portlier and a bit slimier, but they have the same kind of brush. I don't know how to describe the kind of mustache they have, a very short brush. And they always have a prop in their hand, like a piece of paper which they can wag in your
Yeah,
face. And
you can almost see like stink lines if they were a comic
yeah, that's
character.
right. And similarly to Mr. Taco and similarly to the Assemblyman, he speaks with triumphant confidence, and he is always
Yeah,
right. Should not be critical of what he's doing because it's all
yeah,
above board.
yeah. Just a nasty, business tycoon.
Yeah, clearly spied an opportunity and
Right.
some
Yeah,
gullible
can't
people.
wait to exploit it. He plans to block off this egg and charge an admission fee and make it a very large sideshow attraction and the centerpiece to what will be the world's largest amusement park, and he's going to call it the Shizunara Happy Center.
It is this kind of Orwellian take, isn't it? Of like, oh, humans are commodifying nature, and then giving a very happy, spinny name to the
Yeah.
exploitation of this egg, but in general, the exploitation of kind of nature
Yeah,
by man.
and he's sort of just shown up here to tell Dr. Muira, Ichiro, and Junko, like, yeah,
Mm,
you can check this thing out for now, but we're taking it away very soon.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, and don't get in the way of my business. And I think that's the thing that's
no,
sorry, the thing that's kind of really interesting about this world is that it's a world of Godzillas and Mothras and these fairies that we're going to meet, which people seem to pretty
yeah,
chill about, to be honest, in general. But so you have this absolute fantasy land, but bloody hell, you better believe that the transfer of property and people's businesses are all like
oh,
airtight
oh yeah,
laws and like, Like it's such a weird kind of comparison of like we live in this very well regulated world over here, but on this side of things we've got giant moths and tiny fairies that
You'd
visit us.
yeah, you'd think society as we know it would just devolve as soon as the first giant kaiju appeared, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is probably quite realistic, honestly. I feel like
Oh,
humanity
absolutely.
would try everything, would do everything in their power to,
Find a
yeah,
way. Yeah.
um, to keep the bureaucratic
The
nonsense
establishment.
establishment
Yeah.
rolling. Yeah. During all this, like an absolute bastard, Mr. Kumayama blows smoke from his cigar into Junko's face, which I just had to
I
note.
think she first of all he asked, "Do you know how to use that
To
thing?"
her,
And then he blows the
referring to
smoke
her
in his
camera.
face. Yeah, that's sorry, I'm referring to a camera. And then he finishes with the line, "If it's good, send
Ugh,
me a copy." He's he's got all the lines.
yeah.
He knows what he's
Wow.
doing.
Oh yeah, just an absolute scoundrel. So a wild scene follows where Mr. Kumiyama meets his shady, not exactly boss,
Yeah,
but like a business partner, Mr. Torahata,
yeah,
financier. Yeah,
financier.
he's a power
Like,
broker. He's a financial backer.
yeah,
He meets Mr. Torahata, and this is our actor who trained
that's
under
right. The
real
real estate,
estate agents.
and he does a great job of he's a bad man through
Yeah,
his supreme
yeah,
confidence and
he's always
smarminess.
wearing like dark aviator sunglasses and just
Yeah,
like looking sinister.
has very strong airs about himself. He sees himself as very
Yeah,
important and above. He certainly he certainly sees his name Kumiyama as the dog's body. Like he's gonna do the dirty work, and I'll get rich off. I'll get twice as
right.
rich as he does.
Kumayama has like the more portlier kind of like still
Yeah,
slimy but
cheaper
affable
clothes.
like demeanor.
Yeah,
Whereas Torahata is thin, tall, steely, and just yeah, well groomed.
like
He is like Satan on Earth. That sort of
yeah. Seems to have all the kind of rich status symbols. Very nice glasses,
right.
good
He's got a
watch.
lady pouring liquor for him.
Yeah, whiskeys. Yeah,
Right.
cigars. Right. He's
Yeah.
doing it all.
So okay, they are meeting in their hotel room and discussing their evil plot to build the theme park when they hear these two little chipmunk-like voices, which
Mm,
announce the arrival of Mothra's Shobijin, the little
yeah,
fairy-esque familiars, I guess, and they're asking for the egg back.
yeah.
Quite
Quite politely.
politely, the two men respond to this by trying to throw a coat on top of them to catch
Hmm.
them. And I'm assuming both of them see these two diminutive ladies and only where they're standing see dollar signs instead.
Yeah, and this again, you have to put yourself in their shoes, where like, do you know what? They've probably seen Godzilla before, or know people who have. So the idea of seeing these two fairies, they are twins. Are they twin sisters, or
The
are they just
actresses are twin
sisters?
sisters. I'm going to assume the characters are also twins.
Oh, sure. I mean, the actresses are twin sisters, so it's this very particular presentation of very small
Yeah.
fairy-like twins. And yeah, it's not surprising that they think about money first, but I don't think they're as surprised as I would be if
Yeah,
that
no,
happened.
seriously. And
Like it is bizarre. Like, and here's the thing. Like,
well,
I'm sorry to interrupt again. Is like I know we already talked about the twins before we talked about them now showing up. But when you first watch this movie and you have no idea about these people, these tiny fairies, it's an incredible surprise. I was like, okay, like Godzilla's still bringing stuff to the table. So it's when you first see them, you're like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Like
so
it's
we're doing tiny twin fairies now.
yeah, who were just like very politely asking for their
Yeah.
giant egg back. So yeah, I know we've talked about this a lot before, but when you first watch this movie and you've watched the previous one, you're like, okay, so for some reason there's this massive egg, haven't seen that before, and now all of a sudden we have these two tiny fairies, which again we've never seen before, because there's a lot of stuff we have seen
Yes.
before, right? Talking about how the characters are, right? But now But to their credit, they're still
There's still
bringing
some new ideas,
entertaining
concepts.
additions. Yeah,
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 for
yeah.
sure. And that's exactly what I was about to ask you. I wanted to know what your reaction was to seeing the Shobijin for the first
Mm.
time. And yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I had vague memory of the like where Mothra is, there are always two little
Okay.
ladies. Sometimes they sing a
Righto.
song, and that's what I remembered. But um, yeah,
Yeah.
now much more context coming back to me.
Sure. Yeah, and again, singing songs to kaiju, that's another thing that seems to be a
Yeah,
pattern as well. And we can talk about that more when we get to Infant Island. There are a lot of similarities you can pick up now in
sure.
these movies, for sure.
Okay, so our Shobijin narrowly dodge the coat and scurry away from the evil
Mm.
businessman's room. Oh, I wanted to mention too the Shobijin's costumes. They're
Yeah,
pretty cool. They look to me I sort of what I imagine like Vegas showgirls from the 50s and 60s might be kind of wearing like elements of
I
that.
can I can pick up on that. Yeah, it's kind of thin, lacy cloaks or wraparounds and some kind of
Yep,
headgear.
they've got big furry mantles as well over their shoulders,
Yeah,
squat puffy chef hats with like a jewel in the middle.
yeah. So very
Yeah,
elaborate, but clearly made, to have a nice
sure.
presentation.
Yeah, elaborate and just a little otherworldly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
So now we're outside behind the hotel where the Shobijin are just sitting up on a tree branch, and
yeah,
also staying at this. I suppose this is the one hotel in Nishi Beach where everyone
sure.
involved with
Everyone's
the
there.
egg, yeah, is
Yep.
here because Dr. Muira, Ichiro, and Junko are all also staying at the hotel.
Yep.
They are out behind the hotel having some cigarettes and just sort of talking about their next steps. They've sort of taken it upon themselves to do battle with Happy Industries. And the Shobijin are again sitting up in a tree branch, and they try once again with some, I guess, who they think are more reasonable humans. They try telling them that the egg belongs to Mothra. They sort of dump a bunch of exposition on us here. The egg belongs to Mothra. It comes from a place called Infant Island, which has been essentially
Yep.
decimated by repeated nuclear bomb tests.
Yeah, the word desolate comes up a
Yes.
lot in regards to Infant
Yep.
Islands.
Typhoons and mudslides have also been destroying the
Yep.
island. The egg was buried underground and it was knocked loose by, and we see this visualized as well. It was
Hmm.
knocked loose by all the terrible things that are happening. And they describe the egg as the last hope for the people on Infant Island. And they want our little hero squad, to try to help bring it home before it hatches because they fear that if it does hatch, the larva inside will unintentionally cause all kinds of havoc as it looks for food and makes its way
Right.
back to the island. So we know there's a big caterpillar in this egg.
Yeah. There's a lot
There's so
there to
much
talk about. So again, another similarity. We have an island,
similar to
and
Faroe Island from
that's where
Calm for Scottsdale.
Sierra of Faroe Islands. We realize how nuclear testing has affected this. Just that's exactly Godzilla's origin
Yep.
story, right? You were testing these bombs and it woke, so it did a mischief. So that those kind of similarities continue. And then I was kind of curious with the name Infant Island. Do you have
Any
any
background to why it's called
understanding of
Infant
why
Island?
it's?
No, I should have looked it up. Maybe I'll make a note and maybe come back to you with that in our next episode.
But it feels like a very
A pointed name. Yeah,
specific name.
yeah.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
I totally get it.
But yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure because it's a word this time. It's not just Pharaoh. We get a smash cut as they're describing Infant Island to another culturally insensitive native islander
yeah.
population.
So this seems to be the pattern: is that whoever is fighting Godzilla, they, two for two, they have an island, and this island
A
is populated with, uh,
cultural
you know, uh, an underdeveloped
mishmash.
cultural,
Yeah,
you know, mishmash. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, I thought we'd got it out of our system last time, but um, I thought this was quite funny. The Shobijin, they tell the hero squad that they'd be very grateful for their help and that Mothra would be thankful too. And our heroes say Mothra would. And this very clumsy reveal happens where the camera, I guess, shifts to show what is directly behind the three heroes,
Yeah.
and that is Mothra in all her big size, gigantic glory, just kind of chilling on a hill behind the hotel,
Yep.
sort of watching.
The wings are kind of going up and down quite slowly, rather
Yeah,
gently.
she's just been there the entire
But
time, watching. She flaps her
yep,
wings, and we see the hero squad sort of get like awkwardly blown by like a wind
blown
machine.
back, which we'll see
uh,
again later. So two things here. I think the gentleman who
yeah.
plays Ichiro, he's the one who's given the line to say it's Mothra with incredible intensity. So that's
Yeah.
that's a cool moment. But then the odd thing is, and it's odd when you watch it, and it's odd when you learn about Mothra. But the music that accompanies Mothra's first
Mhm.
showing is really quite. It's supposed to kind of inspire a bit of dread and
Mm.
fear. And when you kind of learn more about Mothra, and also when you're watching Mothra there, like she is not, she is not looking to cause trouble at all or terrorize
No,
anyone. She's pretty chill. She's literally just sitting there. She's not screaming or anything. Or maybe she does make a noise. The music that accompanied it was a bit more aggressive than you're kind of led to understand
sure.
later on.
I think,
I mean, they're crapping their pants, I
yeah, for
guess.
sure. I mean, it's still kaiju. Kaiju's a kaiju, whether it's Mothra
Yeah,
or another one. And they
sure,
don't know that Mothra is like. I assume they don't know that
sure.
Mothra is totally benevolent. Construction starts going underway at Nishi Beach. Yep, our
Yeah.
trio travels there to the construction site to meet Misters Kumayama and Torahata and ask them to get the egg back.
Mhm.
That goes about as well as you'd expect it to.
They do reveal something those guys didn't know, right? They reveal the fact that they Mothra wants
Oh,
it back,
right, yes.
so they're very kind of
Yeah,
interested.
they ask, I think Mr. Torahata asked them, did Mothra give them power of attorney over the egg?
That's right. Yeah, and then they bring out the
Right.
twins as well
Yep.
to kind of reinforce the fact that it was Mothra that requested
Yes.
them to return it.
The
Yeah,
trio, the hero trio has a box, a little like
hmm
ornate sort of carrying case, and inside this case, they reveal that the Shobijin are inside. And they
yeah,
again asked to get the egg back. Mr. Kumariyama responds with, "Will can we buy these berries?"
yeah. That's right. It sees
Yeah,
another
we'll
opportunity
pay
to yeah,
2.5 million yen a piece for them.
but it leads to them being chucked out, doesn't it?
Yes,
Eventually by
yes, they
some
all get
goons.
thrown out. The Shobijin then sort of sneak away, and we see Mothra flying away from our trio, and we hear the Shobijin somehow. We hear them speaking from leagues away
Oh, that's
on the
right.
back
Yeah,
of
sayonara. Yeah,
Mothra's head. Yes, saying the
we're
yeah, we're sad to
disappointed.
see that some people don't respect our feelings. They say it's the
That's right.
cutest
That's right.
thing you can
Yep.
imagine, and also
Yeah.
sayonara. It's very. They fly off into the sunset back to Infant Island. You would not know this is a Godzilla movie yet. We're probably 30 minutes in
Sure.
by now. The people
Yep.
on Nishi Beach, the fisher folk, they are getting fed up with Mr. Kumiyama for not paying rent, nor have they paid the full price of the egg yet. And they offhandedly mention that the grand opening for uh, what was it, Happy Land or whatever, the Happy Center,
Sure.
that the grand opening might be canceled because there's not enough money going around.
Yeah.
And we're sort of getting the idea now that Kumiyama is he doesn't have much money left.
Yeah, that's right. He's kind of conning his way through this, and it leads to like the first bit of friction between the two,
Business
you know,
partners.
money grubbing, yeah,
Mhm.
business
He calls
partners where
Torihata, asks for more
yeah,
money.
wonders
Yeah,
where the money is, and then he essentially leaves that conversation by getting a worse deal of Torahada, who's exploiting him as
right.
much as
We're
possible
using the egg
to
as collateral now.
see.
And we also learn, or it's mentioned in this conversation that Torahata has a safe in his
Oh
office
yes.
full of money.
Oh, you wouldn't believe how much money it is. Wall to wall. Not sure why it's not in a bank.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. A quick scene in the newsroom where Ichiro is impassionately told that his writing packs no punch. That made me laugh a little bit. And then Kumiyama is he lights up giant incubators to speed the hatching of the egg along, like an absolute moron. I think he needs to or wants to drive more interest into the park as early as possible. So he
Yeah,
wants this whatever's inside the
absolutely.
egg
Yeah.
to come on out. Ichiro and Junko, they get cleared of radiation.
This is the point where the kind of weird substance they found right at the beginning of the movie at the
Finally,
typhoon
yeah,
disaster site finally
yes.
reemerges. So as I said when you brought that up, it seems so relevant when you first see it, and then it just disappears
I know.
from notice.
I was almost confused early on. I thought, oh, did that become the egg somehow, or the through line of that little blob that they found could have been thread
Hmm.
back into the movie a little more early on, but that's okay. But
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
here they are. Ichiro and Junko are in Dr. Mira's lab. They're in a glass wall windowed room getting
Yeah,
blown by
getting
pink
deradiated.
smoke, deradiated. But
Yeah.
they're getting
Is
yeah,
it pink
they're
smoke?
getting
Yeah.
deradiated now though. This is a lot of movie has happened between them finding that blob.
Yeah, you don't think you could just like give him a phone call and be like, ah, mate, probably a good idea if you come into my lab
Right?
today just to
Dr.
get
Mira
cleaned.
has been with them this entire time too. Like what's happening? All right, so whatever. How accurate do you think that is to the real procedure though? Like you just go in a room and get shot with pink smoke? What's going
I would hope so, but I don't think they're that
on?
glamorous.
Well, yeah, that blob is highly radioactive, and it leads us to what I thought is a pretty effective scene back on Karada Beach. So that very first beach that was
Yep,
hit by the typhoon, it has been
Typhoon
cleared.
8.
Typhoon 8, it has been cleared of water. It is now just this big kind of sand pit
The assembly man has done his job.
for
He's cleared the whole
sure.
place. Yeah,
And what we see is the sand pit kind of starts undulating, going up and
that's
down
right.
in waves, and it's a cool effect. And what does this lead to but Godzilla's tail flings up out of the sand. There he is. What a reveal, because I had totally fucking forgotten this is a Godzilla movie by this
Sure.
point, and where like I had no idea where he was going to come from. And of course, you would put two and two together, kind of like the radioactive glob.
Yep,
It's a piece of Godzilla's
it's
skin
common.
or a cell or something.
I don't know. I feel like we need to start ranking Godzilla's arrivals because, like, what was the King Kong one? Was that like the
That's a submarine crashing into an iceberg, and that is my number one so far.
yeah? What was King Kong Returns? Oh, sorry, Raids Again. Did we get that one? I can't remember.
Well, that one
But
he's just Kobayashi crashes his
it's just
plane, or his friend crashes his plane on a little side island,
oh, they're
and
fighting
he and
and they're just
Anguirus are
fighting
just
Anguillus.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's no
No.
real kind of cause and consequence. But with this one, I suppose the idea is that he was under a seabed or a lake bed, and then under the soil
Yeah, dude.
there,
How
or
he
did he get blown in by? Did he get blown in by
That's
the
what I was sort of
typhoon?
wondering. Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, it works in that you see him come out of the ground. It's very, a dramatic, great visuals. But like, how
I
how
know.
did he
I,
get there?
I wrote down in my notes, let's not think too hard about how he was just under the sand at this beach.
Yeah. But he's having this nuclear nap basically,
Yeah.
and
And now he's
you speak about as in Nakajima.
uh
He shakes the dust off. Where you can, it's very adorable almost the
yeah.
way he
Oh
shakes the
yeah.
dust off. but he's the same goofy Godzilla that we've seen before, like the boggly eyes sticking out, looking in two
Yeah,
different
man.
directions, the somewhat slack
Yep.
jaw, you know, vacant
Yep.
expression.
He's
Yeah,
back, baby. We're back.
he's back. Absolutely. And what does he do when he wakes up? The only thing he knows how to do.
He goes on a rampage. Let's go.
Like, this fella does not need to take a minute to like use the toilet or brush his teeth, whatever he needs to do to start his day. He is just like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
Godzilla. What
yeah.
do I do?
Gonna step on some
Point me to the
stuff.
closest
Yeah,
city, please.
let's do it. Yeah, we hear a loudspeaker announcement saying Godzilla, the atomic monster, is heading for Nagoya and Yokkaichi. And we are treated to some great rampaging and evacuation scenes.
Mm,
He stomps out some seaside factories to his classic theme music. He knocks over a tower with his tail. There's some crowds
that's right.
running at the camera, and he crushes Nagoya Castle, reducing it to rubble.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think it's. They do say they're going to Nagoya, but that castle is Himeji Castle. Do you know Himeji Castle?
I've probably seen it. I might have seen it in person.
Yeah. I first heard about or learned about it through Civilization, the computer game.
Right.
And you see a picture of it, and I was like, that is a beautiful castle. And I just happened to be on vacation. My first time teaching in Korea. I spent my winter vacation. I had 10 days or something like not 10 days, 9 days. And I went across Japan, but I made sure to go see Himeji Castle because it is beautiful. So I think it might be in the region of Nagoya, but it's definitely
Oh,
Himeji.
okay.
And I wish I had known that when I went there because I'd be like, all right, this is where Godzilla
Yeah, man. Yeah,
falls
yeah, yeah.
over. This is the scene where because you do see crowds of people running away from the castle and be like, all right, that's shot the scene here. Yeah, that would have been cool. But yeah, it's pretty funny with the castle because he just kind of stumbles into it. He doesn't
Yeah.
really. I don't think he's too proactive about it. He just kind of
Blah.
trips over a kind of
And it
falls into
crumbles.
it. Yeah.
But I have to give it to them, the miniature department. This castle actually
Yeah.
crumbles. Like it's a good little rampage. Probably 3 minutes or
Yeah.
so.
And he's the villain. He's terrible. He's
Yes,
dreadful.
and
Which was relevant in the last movie because King Kong had a very kind of odd backstory.
kidnap victim.
In this movie, there is a clear distinction between the villain and the
Yeah,
hero,
definitely.
for sure.
We get another classic like boardroom scene with Japan's self-defense forces.
Uh, I mean, I could have guessed what their defense plan was going to be. I didn't need this scene because I knew exactly what their plan was
We're
going
gonna
to be.
lure Godzilla to the coast. We are going to attack him a little bit, and then we're gonna throw an electrical net on him again.
It's lightning grids, electricity grids, and this time some nets. But it is the exact same thing as we've seen in all four of the movies, I believe now. Although we don't have a pit. I don't think they're digging. Are they digging a pit for this one? I can't recall. But this time around, they've jacked up the voltage from 1 million, which was the King Kong level, to was it 10 or 20 million volts we're using now? I can't recall. But they make a point of saying it's going to be 10 million.
Yeah, no, I wrote it down, I think, and we'll 20 to 30 million volts.
20 to 30, even more. So even though it is the identical plan from all four movies, they are savvy enough to be like, but
Yeah.
this time it's going to
And
be
we got
20
him
to
this time
30.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't need to see this scene. I knew exactly what the plan would be.
Jeez. The man in the newsroom who is perpetually about to eat an egg, he suggests asking Mothra for help, since naturally she would want to guard her egg from Godzilla. And I don't, at this point, I was asking myself, like, I don't really know why it's the responsibility of anyone in this newsroom
Thank you.
to deal with Godzilla in any way.
The next thing I was about to say was, and once
But it
again, we have
is.
found people who are like clearly doing stuff they should never be given the
Yeah.
authority to do,
Yeah.
taking the lead to resolve Japan's
know.
imminent destruction. Don't worry, we got these
Yeah.
journalists who are on the case. Army
Yeah,
can take
yeah.
a step back,
So funny.
or the prime minister, whoever.
Sure.
Yeah.
So our hero squad, they decide to be brave and travel to Infant Island to plea for help.
Okay, so we get to Infant Island.
Their arrival, it is, as we've heard, pretty desolate.
Yeah,
We see a set that is basically just this muddy beach, swampy beach.
Rocky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rocky. It's covered with giant skeletons. One of them is a sea turtle that moves, and we can talk about this dude later.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
I'll hold fire on that
yeah,
then.
hold fire. They walk along the beach in yellow. I don't know if these are they hazmat suits?
It's a fair description.
Okay,
Like,
yellow maybe hazmat suits. They have a Geiger counter that's clicking
and
away.
they're quite, especially Junko. They're very sincere. I don't know what the word is here, but they're taking a moment to be like, "Oh, this place is so desolate."
Yeah, they're being very reflective.
Reflective. I
Yeah,
can't imagine how green it used to be. And then Junko says, "I feel partly responsible for
right,
this."
right. Yeah,
So very much Honda's telling the audience we're all
yeah. We're all complicit. Yeah, it's very eerie. It is kind of at odds with the rest of the movie tonally,
yeah.
but
They are clearly making a point
yeah, but
for sure.
I appreciate its inclusion.
Yeah, yeah. Me
Um,
too. Me too. I
yeah,
think it helps. It helps. Sometimes it's just a nice punctuation between like
yeah,
Godzilla blowing stuff up for 3 minutes. It's like, all right, let's just chill out.
right.
Take a second.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And as they walk, they're ambushed by some of the denizens of Infant Island, and they're painted all in red from head to toe.
Importantly, we learn the populace of uh,
Infant
Infant
Island,
Island. Yeah, but they speak a Japanese dialect, we're told, and that's a big change
from
from
Faroe Islands,
the
which is just a
Faroe Island and
mishmash of
yeah,
maybe actor
vocalizations.
improv
Yeah,
gobbledygook.
precisely.
Yeah. They are again kind of in brown face, the most of the
Yeah,
Infant Islanders, if they're not painted red already, that is. They've got flower wreaths, headdresses, ponchos, wooden shields, spears. They say
yeah,
drinking in English when they
that's right.
want.
That's right. So we get this red concoction,
Mhm.
which is similar. I'm sure it's not the same as the King Kong drink,
The
but it's
juice.
interesting that
Yeah.
it's red again.
Yep.
So this is for them to earn the trust of the population here. They have to drink this drink.
Right.
Do you remember what the people in King Kong versus Godzilla did to earn their trust?
Oh yeah, they gave them a transistor radio which played this weird jaunty pop song and cigarettes for
That's right.
everyone.
And cigarette, and specifically children and women as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Um
that's a nice change. It's not as
yeah.
humorous.
Yeah, here it's this much more like antagonistic, like the Infant Islanders don't trust outsiders.
Yeah,
They want them to prove themselves. Their chief or elder or
the elder.
leader,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
The man with the big white beard. Yep.
a man with a big white beard. Yes, he's very much making his presence known and wants them to prove themselves. The chief or the leader, rather, says Mothra will not help them. And it's their own fault for playing with the devil's fire. The devil's fire being
Yeah.
nuclear power and nuclear bombs.
But again, we are seeing, again, it's another island. Again, it's a tribal kind of setting
Yeah,
and home to the kaiju. But in the last one, King Kong versus Godzilla, it was all kind of tongue in cheek. But I think the whole point was here come civilized people from Japan, and these people are very much not as civilized. They're savage. But now these are people who have gone through shit, and you're the villain here. Like we're the good guys.
right,
Like we're the decent people here. We may not have all of your wonders, but you destroyed this.
right,
Because you played with the sun or whatever. Yeah.
right. Um, yeah, it's very much a dead end is what it's looking like until we hear the
Yes.
Shobijin kind of singing from another. area of the cave that they're
Yeah.
currently in. They're sort of meeting in this cave, and everybody sort of wanders over to where the Shobijin are singing. That is an oasis inside the cave, or
Yeah, that's
adjacent
right.
to it
Yep.
in some way. This is like the last
Yep.
bastion of
Yeah.
livable area, and this oasis is sustaining the entire island and all of the infant island population.
And it's a
And
beautiful
it
oasis.
is,
It's made to be this kind of tropical paradise
yes,
inside a cave. Yeah.
yeah. And the Shobijin
Like
song, it's
the last vestiges of innocence is like here. This is it.
right. Their song is eerie and beautiful, and then Junko gives a speech again, still trying to get their help. I thought the logic was a little janky here. One of the lines, specifically in her speech, is "Even bad people deserve to live." Um,
That's right. It's
just
kind of emotional blackmail.
yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah, yeah. There are some hilarious background extra moments in this because
Performances. Yeah.
yeah, all of the islanders are like nodding or shaking their head along with each other.
Following their cues from each other. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
some of them are doing it much longer than others, like well past the moment where they were supposed to be shaking their head or nodding. It's really funny, like looking around for confirmation from the fellow
Yeah.
actors, seeing no
Okay.
one,
Yep.
and then just stopping again. Oh, it's good. We see sort of a majestic scene of Mothra in the cave, who I
So this
guess
is our
also
second presentation of Mothra. This is our
right.
second sighting of Mothra.
And they are singing Mothra's song, which is, just basically Mazura, and then
Yeah.
over and over, but in, varying lengths of her name. I really liked her song. I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
It
Um,
adds to like the build up because like we're gonna see. It's kind of a shame this wasn't the first time
yeah,
you saw Mothra. Like I feel like they could have just used sound effects and the wind
before.
because with yeah before
Yep.
because with the singing and then the actual presentation of Mothra here, it's really different from the way any other kaiju's been presented because it's incredibly almost deified, like holy esque, almost
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah.
This presentation of Mothra
Yes,
with
and
the music, the build up, the lighting.
right.
She seems to be sitting on some kind of almost this natural made dais or like plinth
Mm,
as her kind of above everyone else. Like she's above everyone else. And, yeah.
yeah, man. Like they really tie a specific mood and tone to
Mm.
Mothra that is very different from any other kaiju we've seen. Um,
No one's yeah. This is a benevolent, positive
yeah,
kind of yeah
life
aura
force.
you get
Yeah,
off. Yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
carries on. I don't know how effectively in other movies, but
Mm,
all the way to the American Legendary Made series that's been going since I want to say 2012. They did one film called Godzilla King of the Monsters, I want to say. Mothra makes an appearance in that film, and they keep that they really captured that tone of like
sure.
majesty and wonder
Yeah,
well.
it's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, I guess so. That is to say, Mothra just she is different. She's different from
Hmm.
everything, all the other kaiju that we've seen.
Yeah, and you can take that back to. I mean, you mentioned Toho were perhaps aiming at children and adults, and
Yeah,
I'm sure children were very happy to see Godzilla, but Mothra takes the edge off a little bit, so it doesn't always have to be scary,
yeah,
and you can have a hero to kind of get behind. And so I can see how it would possibly appeal to children more.
100%. We also learn that in this scene, Mothra is going to die soon.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, but we shouldn't
That's right.
worry because, like a phoenix, she will be reborn from her egg.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Next, we see some tanks. We see some tanks
Yep,
rolling around.
that's right. Back to Godzilla.
Yep, yep. These miniature tanks are amazing.
Nimble.
So
They can turn
many,
on a dime.
yeah, so many points of movement on these things. Very, very cool. And apparently,
Yeah,
this showdown between the military and Godzilla is going to take place not too far from Shizunaura's Happy Center and the big egg.
So we're all tying this together.
Yeah, it's all coming to a head. Mr. Kumiyama confronts Torihata face to face. He basically
Ooh.
starts choking him out in his own office.
So this is really interesting. Yeah. So we have these two, the two evil comic book kind of
Villains. Yep.
money
Hmm.
villains. Yeah. But now they're actually coming to blows. Kumayama has figured out that he's being taken on a journey. He's being
It's
conned.
all about that money.
And he needs money, and he needs it now. He knows that Torihata has the money in his hotel room, and it leads to physical violence. Like they blows to each other.
Hmm.
Kumiyama has the better of Torihata.
Gets him on the ground and just is punching his face repeatedly.
Yeah,
So it's covered
yeah,
in
really
blood.
lays into it. Covered in blood, bloody nose. Takes that as an opportunity to start taking stacks of yens from the hotel, and then Torihata,
From
you know,
Torihata's safe. Yep.
yeah, from safe, and then Torihata still with us takes out a pistol, and I couldn't quite figure out where he shoots Komiyama,
It's
but
the
he
forehead.
oh yeah,
We
oh,
see
okay.
a little hole in his forehead. Yeah.
As this is happening in the hotel room, Godzilla is approaching, and you do get this moment where they're both still tussling. You hear Godzilla's roar, and then you can see Godzilla through the window
Yeah.
approaching the hotel. And I don't know, like smarter people than me, but there is something about these two money-driven people
Hmm.
fighting each other as this monster approaches. I'm sure there's a symbol in there somewhere or some
Oh,
kind of metaphor.
absolutely. That we will be that greedy and self-destructive,
Yeah.
even in the face of our imminent demise. 100% there's thematic relevance there. Also,
So I really enjoyed that scene.
yeah, and also it's kind of jarring because I think this might be our first time seeing like human blood and
Yeah.
murder, like violence, human on
Yeah.
human violence in these films.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
pretty notable for that as well. After shooting Kumayama in the head,
Yeah.
Torihata's running out of the building with his money as Godzilla's tail swipes the building itself, burying him
Brings it
in the
down.
rubble, and that is his end. So good riddance to two bad blokes, I say.
That's right.
Yeah,
Buried under yen.
yeah.
That's him leading towards the egg, right? That's what follows.
Godzilla's moving toward the
That's
egg. Our
right. Yeah.
heroes, our hero squad arrives. They're on the scene. There's this weird shot of them just like lazily running up to the top of a hill.
Right, to get a
Like
view. Yeah.
yeah, like uh, I don't know, that maybe that was like their third or their eighth take of the day or something.
Sure,
But
yeah.
they looked so
Good enough.
unbothered about getting up there. But
Yeah, that's right.
they also have the Shobijin box with them, so they're looking down. They have a bird's eye view. As soon as Godzilla sees this egg, this was odd. He wants
Hmm.
to crack that
Yeah.
motherfucker open.
He
Like,
he beelines for it, right?
yeah, I don't know why exactly, but maybe that's the old like Angerus, like just wants to be
Yeah,
top dog.
he's a predator.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it certainly helps the narrative move along.
for sure.
And we all knew it was coming, right?
Yeah,
But it is, even though you know it's coming and what's expected, it does still feel a bit odd, like why Godzilla beelines for this egg
I know.
when usually it's fire and cities that he's after.
100%. So Mothra sees this. She is also on the scene. She starts flapping her wings at incredible speeds
Mm.
to prevent Godzilla from getting to the egg. And that seems to work for a little while. It sort of stops him in his tracks. It also sends the egg rolling down the beach as well.
That's right.
I thought this was very cool detail. While Godzilla is like struggling to stay standing or like move against the wind off of Mothra's wings, he's just spouting off random
Oh,
bursts of his
oh
atomic
yeah,
breath.
that's right.
We haven't seen that before. I thought that was very cool that he would just like a panic switch, just like
Yeah, that's
blah,
right. Yeah,
blah.
fight or flight kind of reaction.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I feel like in the King Kong movie, Godzilla had the better of King Kong for 98% of the fight, right?
Hmm.
Feels the other way around. It feels like in this one, Mothra has the better of Godzilla, 90% of the time here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really one-sided. You know, Godzilla had a pretty good introduction destroying stuff, but I mean, Mothra does deal with him quite handily. It's really enjoyable as well because I think at one point the scene is just close-ups of Godzilla's head and Mothra's
Oh
head
my
as
god, I
Mothra's
know.
kind of
The
clawing.
puppets.
It's really, yeah, the puppets. It's really frenetic,
Yes.
but it is. It's full of energy, and it's just imagine a bird kind of pecking at your head, constantly flying over your head and
Yeah,
getting at you, and just how infuriating that would be.
for sure.
The
And
Godzilla
she's using her
does it
like
well.
six little legs
Yeah,
to scratch him.
kind of
Um,
harass him. Yeah,
yeah,
and Godzilla really has very little to offer in return.
right. And we can't I can't stress enough how like detailed and just cool the Mothra puppet is.
Hmm.
It's just a almost a work of art, that thing.
It's like we've seen it now 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
At no point have I kind of made a joke or laughed about something, but with like Godzilla and King Kong, you better believe the first time I saw those guys, I was
Oh,
just like having
goofy
a
as hell.
chuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, with Mothra, no, Mothra is well done for
Yeah.
sure. Well presented, well done. Yeah.
Yeah. She picks Godzilla up by the tail and drags him
Yep.
along the beach at one point. It's
And
very cool.
in in the last movie
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he was fighting King Kong, his tail was everything. His tail was like
Yes.
his main weapon to a certain extent. So it's ironic that now Mothra's more capable. Yeah.
Yeah. Mothra uses a poisonous yellow powder from her
Yeah.
wings.
You
Um,
you better believe you. I knew you were thinking about Butterfree on
okay,
Pokemon. Surely.
so okay, I made this note. The last two films have felt like wrestling matches, but here it
Yep.
feels like a Pokemon battle.
That's yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
That's all I thought when I saw that. I was like, that's Butterfree
Uh,
right there.
oh yeah, and it's due to the difference in body types. Like they have to have this kind of it's just a much different kind of fight. That makes it quite interesting. Godzilla eventually crumples under the poison powder and falls into a ditch. Maybe that's a man-made ditch. I'm not sure. Godzilla looks pretty shaggy.
Mm.
Or oh no, sorry. Mothra is the one looking a little shaggy after this fight. She flies over to her egg to die. Um,
So I think as I said, like 98% of this Mothra is winning, but I think as Godzilla's flailing around in his pollen poison, he just gets off a lucky shot of his iridescent light or his nuclear breath,
yeah,
whatever,
it's atomic
and
breath
he
now, Sam.
his stomach breath, sorry, atomic breath, and just kind of clips Mothra on the wing, and
I think there's that, and I think there's also just she has been at the end of her
she's used
her
up the rest of
thread.
her kind of life
Yeah,
force. So yeah, so Godzilla hasn't quite been vanquished. So close, but not quite.
yeah,
And Mothra's used the remaining energy to just kind of lie on top of the egg.
yeah.
But it's all symbolic. Essentially, the egg is unprotected now.
Right, exactly. We also get more shots of tanks and the Air Force assaulting Godzilla now that Mothra's sort of out of the fight.
Hmm.
And so, all right, this is odd because this scene with Godzilla versus the military now, it appears as if the sun is going down or has gone down. It's a pretty fun sequence. There's a lot of pyrotechnics. We see real actors with artillery cannons shooting off into the distance. I don't know if that's recycled footage from like
Yeah, right.
actual military stuff, but we see a few moments of the Godzilla suit lumbering ahead whilst its head is on fire. And that was the airdrop.
Planes and the
Yep.
missiles and
Yep.
stuff. Yeah,
And as we know, it was an error on set or like an accident on set that it
sure.
even caught fire, but so cool to see, yeah, to see Godzilla's head literally on
The
fire.
flames. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when the electric towers start zapping Godzilla with the promised 20 to 30 million volts.
But again, man gets too greedy.
Yeah, yeah, they try to keep amping it up and until
And
Godzilla
melts
just
the
yeah, it melts the generator. The generator blows up.
generators. Yeah, they have dropped these electric nets on top of Godzilla, a few of them,
Right.
but
Yeah.
as soon as they've lost all power, they're just rendered
Yeah.
obsolete, I guess.
Right. And we cut back to God Mothra, dying on the beach with one wing draped over her egg, and the sun is back up again. It's midday. Um, the Shobijin sing their Mothra song to her. It's kind of touching,
Mm.
and we cut back to Infant Island, where the entire tribe is sort of dancing and
Yeah,
bowing and praying and
at the same
chanting.
time.
Uh,
So it's
um,
this kind of like this scene in scene moment where you get the
yeah. Since the generators have been blown, um, after writhing around a little bit, Godzilla can get back up, and he just lays waste to the tank miniatures, literally
Mhm.
melting them with his atomic breath, which is fun.
crumpling in on
Yeah,
themselves.
we're
Yeah,
fun to see these models just get wrecked. Then the village at Nishi Beach, they choose now to evacuate, I guess. It seems like a scene that should have taken place 10 minutes earlier in the film, but we get it now. Some classic evacuation scenes, people running, organized transportation and whatnot. And we also see Godzilla's head pop up over the hill behind the town
that's right.
in a very
That's
cool
a
composite shot. Yeah,
sure takes you back to the first
it's a
movie.
throwback to the first movie. Yep. And we also see a miniature version of this town, seaside town. I thought this miniature is absolutely gorgeous. Like seeing the full thing from a long distance shot there.
Yeah, I was in my mind I was kind of expecting the miniatures to get worse just because they know what they need to do, so now they can just mass produce it.
Mhm.
But as you've kind of said with the military ones, the planes as much as the tanks, everything seems to have got like a slight upgrade,
Yeah.
which is really endearing because it's interesting to see these things.
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally agree. And I could not even, I'm trying to think back, but I couldn't tell you. I don't think I was paying close enough attention to this when I was a kid watching these, but
Oh,
I'm
sure,
sure
yeah.
we'll see if they ever dip. This is all being set to the Mothra song, scenes of the infant islanders doing their thing. The
Hmm.
egg turns into a giant disco ball, and
That's right.
we are treated to quite a big surprise. There's not one larva in there, but two.
I don't know. How would you describe these larvae?
Oh, I mean, anyone who has played Pokemon,
Sure,
an immediate draw parallel is Caterpie.
Caterpie. Yep.
Yeah, but if you haven't,
I would
ah,
say, I mean, with Caterpie's like green, right?
yeah,
So these, I mean, they are larva or insect larva, but I must admit, you're kind of expecting to see a very kind of vibrant colored,
yeah,
pretty design. You see some caterpillars which can be like that. These are that kind of dirty, leathery brown. I don't know you'd see on a sofa that's been in a pub for decades, where for a certain spell they were probably smoking cigarettes indoors.
yeah,
It is the ugliest looking brown material.
yeah.
I don't
They've
know.
got these little beady eyes in their
They've got
faces.
beady eyes. They're segmented well, so just like any kind of caterpillar or whatever would be segmented. So
Yep.
they're really authentic, but they're not nice to look at. And
No,
you're kind of hoping for like a beautiful kind of
you got to
you
start
know
ugly, man. Got to start ugly.
ghost ugly. That's right. Like so, I was a bit kind of like, ooh, I mean, nice to see them. Not like, wow, that's cool. It's just like they're ugly. They are ugly.
Yes. The really cool thing about them, I think, is how they move. Um,
Yeah, I was about to talk about the movement. It's
yeah,
yeah, they don't have legs, right? They just have segments,
right.
and they kind of
They squirm.
they squirm. Yeah,
Yeah, they bunch up in the middle and then
yeah,
go out fully. I'll talk a little bit about that in
sure.
Kaiju Corner. But we've got two larvae. Mothra had twins, and
Yes, right.
these
That's the thing.
are both Mothra, I guess.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
maybe we call them the Mothray. I don't know. So the stakes are being set for this final showdown. That we have Godzilla, we have two Mothray larvae, and
Who instantly, just like Godzilla, instantly they know. All right, we're born. Oh, okay. We now have to go destroy Godzilla. Like,
we
there's
gotta deal with this. Yeah.
they're not taking a trip to the toilet. They're not reading any books to
Nope.
figure out life. They instantly know that Godzilla's out there and
Yeah,
needs to be
yeah, man.
vanquished. Yeah,
Maybe there's a passed down consciousness we
yeah,
could
that's
say,
right. Yeah,
but
maybe.
among all this, there is. All right, this is very artificial and contrived. There is an island off the coast,
Yeah, Iwa Island.
Iwa Island. There is I think Iwa Island has been evacuated by this point, except there is one school teacher with her one class of little
Yeah,
cute elementary school kids who were taking a hike
that's right.
during the
And been
evacuation,
left
and
behind.
they've been left behind.
And we know this because there's a very, what's the word? Hysterical gentleman
Right, on a ferry,
who,
who's like, "We gotta go back."
well, yeah, the ferry's just come from Ero Island,
Yeah,
and he's demanding they go back, and he's doing it with a lot of energy, quite hysterical.
yeah,
And that's why we know these women are sorry, this woman and her students are on the island.
yeah. And
Quite a dramatic gentleman.
it's very sudden, uh,
Hmm. It is, isn't it?
but that's okay. We at this point only care about Godzilla and the Mothra.
Really,
Yeah.
it isn't. Yeah, it's there is a resolution to the scene with the teacher and the students, but you don't need it. You could have just done
You could have just
Godzilla
had the
fighting.
fight. Yeah, yeah,
Just had the easily. You could have just had the fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's okay. The larvae swim out. Yeah, and Godzilla is just like heading toward Iwa Island.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Godzilla gets there first. He does kind of trample a few buildings
yep, yep.
before the larvae arrive, but they do arrive.
They swim out behind him.
Mhm.
It is a very very cool shot. You just see these two larvae on top of the water, almost just sort of,
Yep. Yep,
like
from a
jet
distance.
skiing over. Yeah, very cool. What we get is, I guess, one of the cuter kaiju battles that we've seen.
Yeah.
These two
Like
little, yeah,
I've not been particularly nice about describing them, but they clearly have an energy about them, and their noise is definitely at a cuter kind of octave.
yeah,
So yeah, they are definitely presented in a
yeah.
relatively cute way for sure.
And this is like whack-a-mole. Like these two
Yeah.
cute little, scrunchy caterpillars are just hiding in little holes, popping
Mhm.
out, kind of spraying Godzilla. One of them like
Right.
bites onto his tail at one point, and he's like
That's it.
trying to fling it off.
Wailing around. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
But the game plan seems to be we need to just cover Godzilla in this kind of web-like
yes,
silk that we can spit through our mouths. And Godzilla, just like with Mothra, doesn't really have a way of dealing with them. They're
Mhm.
incredibly successful.
Yeah.
They run rings around Godzilla, and
Yeah.
they're able to wrap him up.
Yeah, they wrap him up in. Do you guys have silly string in the UK?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It
You
looks
spray
like
it like maybe a Halloween kind of time. Yeah.
right. It looks like silly string that just like comes out of both of their mouths, and they absolutely cover Godzilla. It gets totally wrapped and cocooned by the little Mothra twins.
Baby
And
Mothras, yeah.
yeah, and they do this by like, one of them will, pop out of one hole and start spraying, and then go back in,
Yep.
and he'll turn around, and then another one's spraying from a different direction. Very, very cute fight. And while all that's happening, the hero squad arrives by boat.
Again, yes, to save the day.
Somehow, with no communication, they've shown up with the teacher. They've shown up.
Exactly where the teacher was hiding, because the teacher guides the students into a cave.
Yes.
And by happenstance, it seems to be the same cave that 3 journalists, or 2 journalists and a scientist have
Exactly.
happened upon.
And I've written her name down here, I think.
Yes.
It's Miss Kobayashi.
I think it is Miss Kobayashi.
It's Miss Kobayashi.
Yes, it is. It's Miss Kobayashi.
Long live Kobayashi.
Long live Kobayashi.
Outstanding stuff. Godzilla gets double teamed by the two larvae, shooting Silk, and then I feel like we see the same scenes of the Silk being shot over and over.
Yeah,
and again, this is another Pokemon move, string shot, if anyone's keeping track. Godzilla falls into the ocean.
Yeah, that's right. Like he
completely
falls
wrapped.
off a cliff.
Yeah.
So, and that's essentially how he's defeated. We don't see Godzilla.
Nope. There's a victory shot of the two larvae atop of the hillside.
That's right. We're about to resolve this movie, but that's the end of Godzilla. So we can only guess at how he will find his way out of that. Is he just going to wake up from a seabed that's been
I know,
emptied?
right?
Will a nuclear submarine ram into his iceberg? How will he arrive next?
Uh,
That's the end of Godzilla.
that's the end of
But the movie hasn't
Godzilla. No,
finished.
there's one last little epilogue.
Yes.
The hero squad is watching the two larvae swim away into the distance with the Shobijin riding on top of them. Once again, they yell out sayonara.
They're returning to Inf
They're
Island.
returning to Infant Island. Ichiro is asked whether they should at least thank the larvae, to
And
which
what is his response? This is so saccharine. It's like when Junko said she felt personally responsible about Infant Island. I was like, all right, you're pulling pretty hard there at the heartstrings. Well, you're trying to.
yeah,
This line is way worse.
I knew you would take issue with this, and rightfully so, rightfully so.
I do love it, but
So should we thank the larvae? The only way to thank them is to build a better world
based on mutual trust.
based on mutual trust. And then
Yeah,
they wave at the retreating backs
that's it.
of
Big waves, and yeah, the credits start rolling. But yeah,
the
Honda
end.
is definitely shoehorned that line in there real hard. Because if there's any reason to come watch Mothra vs Godzilla, it's to get moral lessons from
I know.
you know.
So my final thought is, this is it's a very busy movie. It had a lot more to say than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to say it's an example of the series having the most on its mind since the
Sure,
first film,
that's cool.
probably.
Oh, easily.
And
Yeah,
even if a lot of that messaging is buried under like out there nightliness, like
sure.
it's still
Or just
there.
shoved in your face, like the final line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not as silly as Kong vs. Godzilla, but it's
Good movie, great movie. I think the issue for me was that because I've now seen Kong versus Godzilla, King Kong versus Godzilla, and you can
yeah.
see so many similarities between these two movies that had I watched Mothra versus Godzilla, without having watched any of the other ones, I'd be having the same kind of excitement I felt when I watched King Kong versus Godzilla. So I think a lot of the feelings are kind of the same, but there are differences in this, how Mothra is presented, the way they fight, the fairies. I think it's. I'm starting to see where we're going with these kind of movies now. So it's hitting slightly different.
All right, well, Sam, we have 3 more segments to take care of. Let's larvae scrunch our way over to Kaiju Corner. Schlurp, here we are. We have 3 kaiju this week. Although our new moth on the block has 2 separate forms, so there's a bit more to
Yes,
talk
that's
about
cool.
there.
Mm,
Let me start with Godzilla. So,
yep.
like last time, Godzilla has only gone through a few minor changes. This is widely regarded among the fandom as one of the absolute best Godzilla suits. This one was made lighter, along with input from Haruo Nakajima, and that allowed Godzilla more fluid movement. To me, yes, he seemed a lot less
Yep.
stiff than he did. Um,
Yeah. I mean, the first thing he does is he kind of shakes off the dust
yeah,
when he awakens, and you couldn't imagine him doing that in
prior
the first
installments.
movie or yeah.
For sure. It had sharper, angrier looking eyes. It had
Well, I'm not convinced about that. He still seems to be boggly-eyed, looking in 2 different directions.
yeah, that's fair enough. I could see a little anger in there sometimes.
Yeah. Oh no, that's confused anger for sure.
Confused anger. Okay, I'll meet you with that. Um, he's more slender, has more menacing claws, a noticeably wobbling lower jaw for certain scenes. That was due to an accident that occurred during the filming, but which Subaraya liked and decided to keep.
That's lucky.
Okay. Let's see. Additionally, there were reinforced heels, allowing Big G to roll and flip more easily without losing his footing.
Dang. Reinforced heel.
Yep. This is the Kong versus Godzilla suit was recycled this time around for the water scenes and the scene in which Godzilla is flung off a cliff.
Oh yeah, like the final
Yeah.
filming, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, we're putting that
We get one shot of this.
put that suit to rest, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There's no new powers on display this time around, but just as we saw in King Kong vs. Godzilla, once again, the Big G displays a bit of a weakness to electricity. Okay, so next up we have a bit of an outlier. Do you remember what that is? Or care to
So
guess
this
what
was
that is?
the dried up skeleton of a turtle on Infant Island,
Yes.
and I'm so glad you brought this up because I wanted to talk about it. As I said before this, I'd watched it twice,
Yep.
and the first time around I was like, I need to check that again because its head and neck definitely moves, and I'm not sure if I'm led to believe that's just because it's so desiccated the wind is moving it, or if it's alive. Because if it is alive, the easiest thing to compare it to, if you know it, is dry bones from Mario Kart or
Yeah,
the Super Mario games. That's
sure.
what they look like.
The mysterious Skeleturtle that we see
Okay.
during this scene, in which we see the effects of repeated nuclear bomb tests on the wildlife of Infant Island. This bony boy remains a bit of a mystery to Toho and the filmmakers as well. So it was made as a puppet, and it appears to be moving in the film. And Toho itself, despite not making much of its appearance at the time, later officially named it as the Mysterious Bones of Infant Island. That's its name. Uh,
Oh, okay, cool.
and after a few officially licensed toys were created by a company called
Amazing.
Cast in 2012. So these toys,
Oh no. If they were OG like 1960s toys, I'd be well into it.
yeah. But, well, I mean,
Yeah.
still, the company making the toy, I guess, frauded Toho enough to actually name them.
Hmm.
And there aren't many stats for this thing floating around out there, but I
It's fine.
I did find a few on Gojopedia. I don't know how accurate they are, but
Very likely highly accurate.
I know. They give it a height of 1 meter, a length of 2 meters, and a weight of 500 kilograms with
And
no alternate forms, no powers,
it's
and
got some
no
dense bones.
no abilities other than its apparent movement. So I came
Yeah.
across a possible origin for it on Reddit and Wikizilla. And this cites that director Honda included the skeleton in the film and its movement after reading a news story about an island devastated by nuclear testing, upon which there were purportedly a beach littered with skeletons of turtles that bob in the wind as if they're
There you
alive.
go. Wow. Honda.
Yeah,
Jeez
some
Louise. He's always doing good work, isn't he?
yeah, man, that's some spooky
Gotta
stuff,
respect that.
Sam.
I'm really hoping that, one day we'll do a podcast and it's gonna be Godzilla versus the mysterious.
The mysterious bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I really hope
It could happen.
one day.
Apparently this kaiju has made some brief appearances in other media in the
Oh,
franchise
okay. It's
since.
made enough waves in
Yeah,
for
it's
people.
got a bit of a cult following.
It's got enough of a following to get, yeah, little Easter egg moments. I see. Yeah.
I think it's to the point where, like, if you know about the bones, then
Yeah.
that's like your badge of honor as a Godzilla fan. Okay, so that's enough of the turtle bones. Um, Last but not least, we have our giant supersonic moth and guardian of Infant Island. That is Mothra.
Mm.
This queen of the skies has a length of 180 meters. It's 590 feet in its larval
Bloody hell.
stage and 80 meters, 262 feet in its imago stage. And I did not
Oh.
know an imago is the adult form of a moth. A weight of 15,000 metric tons as a larva, 20,000 metric tons as an adult, and a wingspan of 250 meters or 820 feet. I mentioned earlier we have a school outside our apartment buildings that's 4 stories tall. Yeah, I sort of use that to think about, I stack 2 of those on their side, and that's
Hmm.
Mothra's wing length. That's insane.
Do we know if is there like a cocoon stage of Mothra?
Because I do think we will see a transformation
Yeah.
happen in a future movie.
Yeah.
I can't
Right.
remember if there's a cocoon stage.
Right. Right.
Now, I do know there's a cocoon stage of a different kaiju, but I also don't want to.
Oh.
I don't want to
No, please don't.
spoil what that is.
No.
So, Mothra's life cycle mimics that of a lepidopteran, an egg which hatches into larva. In this case, the caterpillar resembles a silkworm. And that eventually spins a cocoon, aka the pupa stage, and finally an imago, emerges from the cocoon.
Okay, so we know there is a cocoon. Yeah.
Yeah. The conceit of Mothra's adult form, the death aligning with its larvae, hatching incorporates a bit of the phoenix mythology. Mothra is one
Yeah.
of a handful of truly benevolent Toho kaiju who act purely as protector to her worshippers and her eggs. Her origin is supernatural. That is, she wasn't created by nuclear testing or anything. She was just a goddess that we assume has always been associated with Infant Island. Uh,
Sums it up well.
yeah, her power.
Which is obviously like massively different to even Anguillus. Anguillus seem to be, and King Kong, they seem to be these neutral, although you can see massive similarities between King Kong and Mothra
Yeah,
in protecting their islanders.
right.
But yeah, this one definitely feels so much more like here's the good guys,
Yeah.
and those are the bad guys.
Thinking on it now, it kind of seems like Toho saw the exact formula of Kong vs Godzilla and was like, all right, let's kind of do that again with
Yeah, for sure.
Mothra. Her powers include the ability to produce and jettison a stream of durable silk in her larval stage, flight at Mach 3 in her imago stage, a resistance to,
Dang.
I know, man, she can scoot if she needs to. A resistance to heat and durability to most military weaponry, even though we don't really see the
Yeah.
military fire on her in this film.
Yeah, they gotta be a bad army doing that.
Yeah, and the ability to produce winds of up to 1,100 miles per hour in gusts and shockwaves from flapping her wings. Her larvae can swim and bash things like cute little skyscraper-sized battering rams. She has tiny claws along her adult body, which can be used to scratch enemies or lift stuff like Godzilla's tail. She can release a poisonous yellow powder from her wings when she's near death, and of course she can resurrect herself, being, according to the Shobijin, immortal and living on through her offspring. We also never see her mate in the franchise, so it's
I
assumed
imagine
that,
it's asexual
right, she's asexual.
reproduction. We frankly, sorry to interrupt, but
No,
frankly, we never get to see Godzilla mate either.
that's true. I
So,
don't think we've ever
like,
seen any of the kaiju mate. Now that we're
yeah.
on this weird subject. Technically, Mothra is a bit of a feat. The larvae were moved through a combination of hand puppetry and motor-driven mechanical prop work.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the mechanics behind it are kind of cool. Basically, Sojido Ijima made a conveyor belt with rotating gears inside it that allowed for the larva's body to move up and then down again, gives them that scrunching movement. Let's see. The webbing that they shoot was made from liquid polystyrene, and it was fired from the larva's mouth by shooting compressed air through a sealed tube that was full of the substance that ran from the back of the kaiju through a nozzle located in its mouth. Essentially, it's a big hose that ran through it, and it was sometimes a puppet, sometimes a prop that could move. To make this all even more complicated, gasoline had to be used to remove the webbing from
Oh well.
the set and the Godzilla suit. The Imago prop had a 15-foot wingspan, which is still huge, with its head and legs remote controlled. And this model was freaking sweet. You can check out pictures of this. There's images on Wikizilla of Tsuburaya standing in the middle of a miniature Tokyo, adjusting it where it's like hanging from strings. It's all just so intricate. There's white fur in sections. There's electrical lights built inside her eyes.
Yeah.
Wings were made from Indian fabric. I don't know what Indian fabric is. It's made from Indian fabric stretched over a wicker frame. And those wings were then attached to wires hanging from overhead cranes, which would raise and lower to create the flapping effect. For shots of the Imago flying at a distance, animation was sometimes used in tandem with a smaller model. And there we have it. Which kaiju are we backing this time, my brother?
I feel, Godzilla's done the same thing. No, has not changed the game whatsoever, and
Nope.
frankly, didn't have a good showing.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure Godzilla will, they'll have their day yet again.
Right.
So then we're kind of left with Mothra, the larvae, and then the mysterious bones
A stack of
Infant
bones,
Island.
yeah.
With Mothra, I find them, although very impressive, the least interesting visually of the the other two. Because the
Mm,
mysterious bones is just like, wow, this is a skeleton turtle, right? And then the larvae are, as you said, silkworm, and they
yeah,
are kind of ugly but adorable at the same time.
yeah.
But I will
They're
say, I
just
will
cute
give,
little scamps.
yeah, precisely.
Yeah,
And you can somehow through this ugly face, you know they're playful scamps.
yeah.
And yeah, because of how Mothra is kind of presented as this highly benevolent divine being,
Mystical. Yeah.
but you feel it. Like when you watch the movie, you instantly understand that and you feel it. So I think just because they are an actual god,
Mm.
I think I'm going to give it to Mothra.
Yeah, I support that completely.
Yeah,
It's easy to want to be, facetious and give it to the turtle, but
yeah, precisely. Yeah.
no, Mothra was great.
So
Yeah,
so what's the list there then? So we had, I guess,
Godzilla,
Godzilla, Anguirus.
then Angus, and then we gave it to the octopus, I think.
Oh, we gave it to the octopus. That's
Yeah,
right, because of the brutal treatment.
yeah,
And now Mothra.
and Mothra. Yeah,
Yeah, that octopus must be pretty confused to be in that kind of group.
yeah, man.
Like,
Just as confused as it was to find itself on a miniature
yeah,
model
precise.
of Faroe
The movie
Islands
set,
being,
yeah.
prodded with cigarette butts and
My dad said this would happen if I didn't study in school.
Good job, Mothra.
Hats off. Hats off. Yeah, good job. Hats
Round
off
of
to you.
applause. All right, and without wasting any more time, let's move over to the MVP NPC award.
So this award goes out to any kind of actor, but not, really. Previously, what have we had? The Budapest Orchestra that hasn't shown up,
Yep,
some toy miniatures,
yep.
and who was it last time? It's a very rational Coast Guard.
That tried
Like
to
protect their country.
protect
Yeah,
Japan, even though
yeah,
Taco thought it was an abuse of King Kong's rights. Yeah.
right. That's right.
I'll start. Thought about it long and hard. I can't put up anyone other than that silly shaman on Karada Beach.
Oh, okay.
He was casting protective wards, trying to, I guess, ward away evil spirits from the egg.
Hmm.
He's mustachioed. He's decked out in what I assume is traditional shaman attire. He's all white with, wicked long billowing sleeves and waving a kind of
Yeah.
stick around. And when he's finished waving it, he lifts an eyebrow like, "What now, bitch?" Like it was so good. He also calls everyone cowards for being scared of an egg, which is great.
Yeah, he's quite forceful.
Yep, he's a badass. He's on screen for 30 seconds, but to me, indelible. Yeah.
That's a good one. We spoke briefly on the two that I was thinking about, because as I was trying to save them for this. So towards the end of the movie, we talked about how the action moves to Iwa Island, which is where they have the school teacher and the students. And I first loved the hysterical old man who was demanding, it could not be placated, that they return back to Iwa Island. There is this kind of impassioned, emotive display that you sometimes see in East Asian cultures where the person is highly hysterical, cannot be calmed down. Everyone's very understanding for the most part, but
Yeah.
it's very demonstrative, and he did it to a T. Like as a hysterical old man trying to rescue these people, I was like, he put the energy in. He sounded just like the kind of arguments I've heard in Korean streets, every now and then. Then we learned the teacher's name, and what was the teacher's name?
Oh
Miss
yeah, Miss
Kobayashi. And I was like,
Kobayashi.
and I don't think she has like a very brief line. I think she tells the students to walk in a single file or to walk towards the mountain or something as they're
Mhm.
kind of escaping. So she has like zero dialogue. But absolutely, when I first heard her name was Miss Kobayashi, I was like, that cannot be a coincidence. I mean, it could be a very common name in Japan for all I know.
Sure.
But I was like, that can't be a coincidence. Surely we're all thinking about Kobayashi still. So yeah, I want my actual nomination will be for Miss Kobayashi purely because of her name.
Oh,
I
that's
think it's like,
you're playing the emotion card now, Sam.
but I think maybe I'm kind of reading into that too much. I think your like genuinely, your character, the shaman, is pretty funny in their kind of performance and dialogue.
I would love to honor Kobayashi,
Yeah,
and
that's tough.
put his name up on this non-existent plaque that
That's right. I'm happy to go with the shaman ritual. It is good. It is funny. It is completely unique as well.
you know what? Yeah, she herself didn't do much for me.
No, no. And again, as we said, it didn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah, and we always say long live Kobayashi, so we remember Kobayashi.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be nods to him in all the other movies. I'm gonna find them, make them up if I have to.
There we go. There we go. All right, so let's give it to the shaman. All right, and one last segment, our Monster Island bonus picks. Let's try and keep it brief, but I've got
Yep.
two. I'll go with Chernobyl. I recently flew back to Korea from the States, very long flight. I watched the entirety of Chernobyl
Mm.
for the first time. I'd never seen it. One of the most riveting shows I've ever seen, and simultaneously the most horrific. Great performances from everyone involved, but especially Stellan Skarsgård and Jared Harris. Jared Harris is just one of those everyman actors who I've seen, I feel like, a million times, but I just never remember his name. But I think this finally
Sure.
put it in my head.
Is that only like 4 episodes to this one?
5. Yeah, it's
5. Yeah, I've definitely watched this one.
Just fascinating story. I didn't know much about Chernobyl
Sure.
other than it was a reactor.
Yeah, and it's called
failed.
Chernobyl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called Chernobyl, and there was a lot of fallout. And yeah, so haunting. So a bit of real life horror for folks. If you have not seen it, holy hell.
Yeah, I remember watching this. I'm pretty sure it came out either just before the COVID-19 pandemic or during,
Hmm.
because it was definitely one of those TV shows, just like what was it, bloody Tiger King, which I watched, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I expect I did it over a weekend because the episodes they are pretty heavy and they're like an hour-ish, maybe a bit longer.
Hmm.
But the kind of level of detail, the authenticity of how they've kind of turned it back into 1986 Ukraine is mind blowing. Like, so well presented, well acted. And there's the moment towards the end where they have the volunteers going in to kind of deal with the reactor and saying their last final words. It's pretty impressive stuff for sure.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, that's an easy recommendation for sure.
definitely. Yeah, couldn't be more glad that I saw it, even though I don't think I ever want to see it again.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not getting off that plane feeling good about yourself.
No, not at all.
That's for sure. But do you
And
know what, Raymond?
yeah,
If we only made a world based on mutual trust and respect or whatever, we wouldn't have to worry about
I know,
you know
right?
the
wouldn't
worst of
need.
the worst, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my second one, which is
Mhm.
Sinners.
Oh,
Um,
cool. Yeah, yeah.
got around to seeing it, and for me, it's probably my pick for best picture of the year. Yeah, man, I just thought it was that thing I love about Korean cinema, which is it balances like 8 different genres at once.
Hmm.
Most of those genres really well. That's not even to mention the music in the movie, which was
Sure.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Great performances
Yeah.
as well.
So it's like if you go into that movie and you don't know much about it, you're going to be taken on a journey and you're going to be like, oh great, I didn't realize it was going to be this kind of movie, and it turns into something really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously there's ultra violence, there's kind of horror tones to it as well. Very from dusk till dawn,
Yep.
which can be really fun, but it's also done in this kind of idea of we're also going to use this to kind of provide you with of a lot of different examples of incredible black culture,
Yeah.
because it is basically just a vessel to tell you all of the kind of great cultural things the black community's provided. So it could be dance, it could be the music, as you said, fashion, blues music. I think also all of the characters, I'm trying to recall, like, the characters, it's a very intimate, in a way, like, intense environment, but they all kind of in themselves represent certain kind of black characters from different
Mm,
movie genres.
hmm.
So Michael B. Jordan is, I mean, he's basically Shaft with Blade. Like, he is a badass black dude, right? Super confident, like, can do anything they wish,
Gangster,
and
soldier.
gangsterish. Yeah, like he is the macho black dude.
Yeah, and I mean by gangster I mean 1920s prohibition
Yeah,
gangster.
yeah, that's essentially the setting for this movie, isn't it? Um, I can't recall some of the other kind of characters in the movie, but I feel like they were also representative of different black representations in different genres as well. So I really enjoyed it because it is so fun and different, and it moves fast. It tries to throw a lot of very cool stuff at you.
And it moves fast despite being 2 hours, 2 hours plus.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a
It's a lengthy
proper
movie.
length movie.
Yeah.
I would always recommend that movie for
Hmm.
people who, I'll say, like, if you want some fun with a horror movie, you'll have fun with this one.
Yeah. And not too much for the uninitiated either. Like I think it's
Yeah,
a pretty
precisely. Yeah,
accessible
it,
horror movie.
and that's, yeah, because this silly horror movies I watch, no one's going to want to watch those. It's nice to have a horror movie like this, which I can be like, you know what, you will enjoy it.
Yeah, again, I will if it is not at least nominated for Best Picture, and I think it should win it, but if it's not at least
Sure.
nominated, I will be very, very surprised. What do you got?
Yeah, mine. So I was going to talk about some Hong Kong kung fu movies, but maybe another time. But I'd like to talk about a Japanese documentary from the 80s, which I just happened to stumble upon. And it's called The Emperor's Naked Army Marches On. Have you heard of
Wow.
this one at
No,
all?
but what a title.
Yeah, it's a pretty great title. If you would just kind of look at the bare bones of this documentary, it is about a Japanese World War II soldier who survived the war, survived the end of the war in Indonesia, and he's looking to reveal the truth about two of his comrades, who were executed by the Japanese army after the war had finished. So he's in Indonesia as the war is officially over, and during that time, his commanders execute two soldiers, and he's looking to get justice for these men because they're saying they fled the army, and they therefore were seditious and treasonous and should be shot. And his argument is, well, the war was over and it was incredibly difficult. Like, the Japanese are not the good guys in World War II, but you would not want to have been in his platoon at the end of the war. Like, they were starving, they were surrounded. So when you look at it that way, it's a pretty righteous documentary. But then you soon realize, right at the beginning of the movie, this man, this soldier with a grudge, is seriously messed up. He's been to jail for murder. He was sentenced to jail for hurling pachinko balls at the Emperor of Japan with a slingshot. And then he went back to jail again for spreading pornographic images of the Emperor around certain parts of Tokyo. And he introduces himself as this nonconformist, anti-establishment person. So you're like, okay, like, it's a pretty righteous cause, but you're not a righteous person. But he's this 60-year-old former soldier, and he goes to all of his kind of higher uppers, his sergeants, his medics. He hunts them down, and he goes with a brother and sister of one of these murdered soldiers, and his game plan is horrible. He's just not a nice person. He will sit down with you and demand that you confess to the murder of these soldiers, which most of them refuse to do. They give enough information to say, we're sorry your brother was killed. It was wrong, but they don't explain why it was wrong.
Yeah.
So then what he does, he's like, okay, I'm going to beat you up. And if you want, you can call the police. I know the police. And at one point, he starts fighting one of these people that he's literally just knocked. Imagine someone knocking on your door. You invite them in, and then he starts beating you up. And it's like, he's the narrator of this story. So he's this horribly unlikable man trying to get to the end of this story, and you kind of get the feeling he's doing it for himself and his hatred of his country or his experience than the actual justice these executed soldiers deserve. But then it takes such a left turn at the end because the whole time you're told these two young men were murdered because they fled, they were starving, so they ran away, they mutinied, whatever. You then realize at the end of the movie that's not what happened. They were executed because the Japanese higher ups were eating these soldiers, and they were just so low ranked in that squadron or whatever that they were the ones that were killed for these fake things, and they were eaten. And
Wow.
they talk about the humans they would eat. They would talk about the indigenous population as black pork, and then kind of the Dutch people as white pork, and it's insane.
Yeah.
And then the very end of the movie, he goes to Indonesia to do this ceremony for his fallen comrades. He goes to Indonesia. I'm surprised they allow him to come in because remember, he's gone to jail for murder. Like, I don't know how he's allowed to leave the country or any other country would let him in. Um, and unfortunately, the Indonesian government refused to let him keep the footage. So we don't get to see what happened in Indonesia. But the last thing we get is one of these newspaper reels showing up that he took it upon himself to go back to the colonel of his division and kill him. The colonel is not there, so he ends up shooting the colonel's son, who survives the attack, and he goes to jail again for like the fourth time in his life, this time for attempted murder. But it starts off as this really righteous kind of cause of like getting to the end of this story, letting these people rest in peace, and it just ends up being this absolutely batshit insane story about cannibalism through this incredibly violent, upset human being.
It's wild when a documentary just turns on a dime like that.
Yeah, it
Or
becomes real.
yeah, wow, man, that's wild. Heavy.
Yeah, it was a cool one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's heavy, but like there are so many mundane moments where they're just being polite and respectful in their conversation because they're incredibly patient with each other. They don't want to disrespect each other. So there is a lot of kind of downtime, and then it's just like all of a sudden he's punched a guy in the face, and let's see where this is going.
Right.
Yeah, it's why he ends up out like he has a wife. He has this long suffering wife who doesn't say a word, but she's just dragged into all of his like chaos, and she just follows along. She dies as soon as he goes to jail for attempted murder. He lived. He left jail. I think he had like 10 years more freedom before he passed away of like in his mid 80s. Like did it, got out.
This movie won a bunch of awards. Wow. I'm gonna I'm
Yeah.
gonna I'm gonna check it out.
Well, I hate to say I've probably spoiled it for you, but it was a good catch that I somehow found.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for that recommendation, Sam.
Yeah, done
Um,
well.
let's see very quickly if if you have listened to our pod and enjoyed it, please leave us a nice review wherever you are listening to it. That would be lovely, and we would appreciate it. A lot of work goes into these. And thank you, Sam, for your work going into this.
Thank you, Ravens. And remember, be like me. If something is so good it compels you to leave a comment, you should leave a comment, right?
Absolutely. Thank you for listening. If you did, thank you for making it all the way through. Next time, uh,
Ooh,
Toho will be introducing the kaiju we could most safely call Godzilla's lifelong primary antagonist. He is the golden three-headed Joker to Godzilla's big green Batman. And this is, of course,
okay.
King Ghidorah. In
Okay.
1964's, and again, same year, wow, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. You might recognize him when you see him. I do
Sure.
believe this is going to be one of our first like multi-monster battle royales, Sam.
Okay, cool.
Maybe like the Avengers 1 equivalent of the Showa era. So I'm pretty
Okay, right
fucking
on.
ecstatic for that.
It's hard to imagine a three-headed monster being a good guy as well, so I can see how Godzilla might be doing his babyface turn.
Yeah. And if you do want to reach us on the pod, you can email us at gspotpod@gmail.com. The G there is GEE, gspotpod@gmail.com. All right. Well, from us to you, goodbye. Have a great week. And
Yeah, praise Mothra.
praise Mothra. Yes, and remember
Praise-
Kobayashi. And
Remember Kobayashi.
and Miss Kobayashi too.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a long list when we get to the end of this. Just all the things we must do. Right on. Thank you, Raymond.